don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender.
Hulk, go smash.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Here's Johnny. Oh, 21 gigawatts!
Hey, motherfucker.
You never go ass to mouth.
Now what is so damn funny?
And here we go. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight.
The Force will be with you. Always.
But the truth! You can't handle the truth! Showtime, everybody! Showtime!
What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome to another edition of the Fanboys Anonymous Movie Club podcast. This is episode number 21 for December 2015, and because Star Wars The Force Awakens is coming out, we figured there's no better time than to knock out the Star Wars saga. 6 movies, episodes 1 through 6, just to get us prepared for episode 7. And if you are going to follow along with us, we're going to go prequels to original trilogy, so blah, but you know, you start building up towards the good stuff, and then you take a little dip down with Return of the Jedi. But nonetheless, that is our plan for December. So I need to introduce to you everybody who's going to be talking about these movies. I am your host, Tony Mango, and joining me on this panel is Kaylin Ferris.
Hey, what's happening?
Angie Williams.
Hello.
And Sean Walker.
After Mission Impossible, I honestly thought you wouldn't have me back.
Oh.
Was it that bad?
Let's say he didn't really watch the movies as much as he watched how attractive Tom Cruise was in number 2.
Oh, God.
Which I can't blame him.
Great hair. All right.
Good looking guy. So we are going to talk about The Phantom Menace first off. Episode 1, of course, makes sense. 1999 is when it was released. The Rotten Tomatoes scores, for those who want to know that, 56 for the tomato meter on the critics side, 60% for the audience score. Not so great considering how fantastic Star Wars is regaled as, you know, the franchise and everything else like that. We, of course, had episodes 4 through 6 first, and then people went back, and they were just incredibly, incredibly excited to do episode 1, but then everybody's expectations went downhill, and it's mostly because of one thing or whatever. We're going to try to stay away from some aspects of the prequels, mostly the idea of, like, this is everything that went wrong and everything that we would change and stuff, because there's going to be an upcoming article on Fanboys called Fanboys Fix It about the prequels. All my opinions about that are all there, so I'm going to shut up when it comes to that stuff. But overall impressions, first time you watched it, and, you know, if you've watched it any time since then or whatever, what did you guys think of The Phantom Menace? Kaylin, I'm going to start off with you.
Well, it was 16 years between episode 6 and episode 1. And so the anticipation factor was higher than it had ever been since Star Wars first came out. You know, I was one of those guys who went to the midnight showing of Phantom Menace and was super excited, watched it in the theater. I loved it. Then I went back and watched it, you know, maybe 4 or 5 more times in the theater. And I still liked it. You know, it didn't quite have that same impact that it had the very first time I viewed it. But I didn't shit all over it the same way a lot of people I knew did. You know, I know a lot of people completely hated every single part about it. And there were certain parts that are annoying. But with any movie, there's usually at least a few things that are wrong with it. Overall, though, I still, to this day, and I argue with people about it, I still think it's a good movie. And I am not afraid to say that.
Angie, on your side of things, what do you think about Phantom Menace?
I was right beside Kaylin when we saw it, the midnight showing. I was so excited about it. I was a lot younger than Kaylin, and when I saw it, I turned into a child and just sat back and enjoyed every moment of it. And unfortunately, every now and then it would sneak into the back of my mind that they just put that in for the kids so they could sell shit.
That's an overrunning theme of this movie. Thankfully, it's not as much for 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
but
I will agree.
I mean, we definitely need to break that down. Sean, what do you think about The Phantom Menace?
Well, when this first came out, I was a wee little lad. I was 10 years old. Puberty didn't hit. So, when 10-year-old Anakin Skywalker got, you know, jiggy with Padme, I was like, damn, anything is possible.
Was that a deleted scene? I don't remember that part.
It's right after that part where she puts the blanket over him and she's like, I'm always going to care for you. And he's like, prove it.
Oh.
But yeah, when I was 10 watching this, I thought it was incredibly boring and dull and tedious. And, well, the lightsaber battles were pretty cool. The Naboo fighting was pretty cool. The pod racing was pretty cool. Other than that, it was like, 50 minutes of talking before Darth Maul got introduced?
I don't mind the
Quite a
talking.
while.
I can see the younger crowd not, getting a little bored with the speech.
And as a 10-year-old, Jar Jar Binks still sucked dick.
I can see the guys disliking him more than the girls.
Really? Why so?
Just because of how cute and silly he was.
Oh, you thought he was cute? I hate him so much.
He was, he fit his personality.
See, now, I also want to throw out there for the people that are just, I don't know. I don't know why I would do this and have people against me, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't like Jar Jar Binks, but I also don't like Ewoks. So I'm part of that crew that, I don't like anything childish in the Star Wars films. And
I love them.
Really?
Yes, my mom, I was really little. She got me a stuffed animal and toys of them because she loves Star Wars more than some of the guys I know. And yeah, she was getting me so many toys of them.
I mean, as a small
I
child,
didn't blink before.
as a small child, I liked him more than I did. As I got older, and like a teenager, I wasn't as keen on the Ewoks, but and then for a while, a number of years, I was thinking, oh well, Ewoks are probably the worst thing about it. And then they introduced Jar Jar, so I'm like, okay, they're nowhere on the same level. You can't even compare.
Ewoks never bothered me. See, it was always R2D2 and Chewie that always used to annoy the fuck out of me because they never spoke any English, and it just I don't know.
I thought they handled the Ewoks well. I mean, if you look at it today, if they would have done the Ewoks today, they would have gone way over the top with the cheesy jokes and the whole. I hate to say Disney style because now Disney's in charge of it, but hopefully they don't go overboard with that kind of, predictable thing that you see in all the common kids movies these days.
Well, we'll talk more Ewoks when we get to Return of the Jedi, but I do want to just mention out there with bad, cheesy jokes, that's a recurring thing in Phantom Menace. I mean, how many poop jokes do we need in this movie?
Oh, yeah.
0 is how many we need. How many do we get? Way too many.
I know there's at least 2. There's the farting, whatever the hell that thing is, and then Jar Jar steps and shit.
Yep.
But oh no, there's actually 3 of them because there's the first line when I was rewatching this where I realized that Jar Jar wouldn't be bad at the beginning of this movie. Like, he'd be a decent character if he didn't go to Tatooine. But the line that kills it and starts going downhill is the "you sit in bad doo-doo."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was just, shit.
Yep.
Face palm.
Jar Jar is, without a doubt, my least favorite part of this movie. But I also have to say, I don't like the idea that Anakin is a little kid. I think he would have been better off as a teenager.
Well, with their plans of the future, I can see why he was younger.
I thought it worked. I think seeing more of the evolution of the character was fine. I think it totally worked.
I would have said a 14, 15-year-old would have been better than a 9, 10-year-old.
And again,
if you said it would make sense with Padme. Right?
Yeah.
There's no way in hell a 16-year-old would
look at a 9-year-old and be like,
Again, that was something in the back of my mind that just screamed, they want the kids to like this movie.
Well, at that point, it wasn't really a romantic relationship, though. It was more of a loving, caring relationship. I don't think it was anything romantic about it.
Yeah, but it could have been.
That's why they wanted him younger.
It could have been like, and I go into this in more detail in the Fanboys Fix It thing, but if he would have been around her age, maybe a year younger, maybe a year older, maybe the same age, he could have been more interested in helping them because he's interested in the cute girl. Like, that could have been one of his main things, because really, I mean, He's just sort of like, we're a slave and we need to give everything and stuff, and that's cool. But if he would have also just kind of been like, plus there's that hottie, and then it would have kind of shown that he's a little bit selfish, because that's something that bugs me about Episode 1 is that Anakin, he's too good in that movie.
I can see what you're saying. That would have been a good idea.
Like,
just that one little thing.
Yeah,
he's selfish.
Just a little thing that he's like, he's not bad, but he's very selfish at times, and he justifies it in his own head as like, yeah, I want to help him out, and what if she's interested in me too, and whatever, what's wrong with that? And the Jedi would be like, well, you shouldn't be interested in getting anything at a return, and he's like, why not? Like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I also threw out the suggestion here, and I want to see if you guys have any opinions about it. I think during that pod race, Anakin should have cheated to beat Sebulba, and he could have justified it as being fair because Sebulba cheated first.
I'm going to say no, because that made the race so much better, was that he really did win.
Like, he defied all odds kind of thing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it made him special.
Well, what do you guys think about the pod race in general? Because the thing that bugs me about that, I mean, the pod race is awesome. I think,
it blew my mind.
Yeah, it was great.
I think the setup drags too long.
Yeah.
It is a long segment.
Like,
yeah, the pod race segment itself is well over a half hour, right?
If you count
including setup and everything.
Yeah, if you count, like, he's fixing the pod and
right.
that setup of, like, let's introduce everybody and that terrible, the announcers and stuff like that.
Hey, that was Greg Proops.
That was Greg Proops?
Yeah, from Whose Line and
really?
Stuff. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Who was the other one? Do you know?
I don't know.
Some guy.
I didn't like the fact Jabba the Hutt was the host.
Really?
There goes Quadranero's power couplings. Yeah, those Greg Proops.
I did like it.
Yeah, the fact that Jabba was there, I think, was kind of forced. That was unnecessary.
Well, he does live in Tatooine.
Yeah, but why does he have to be involved with every single aspect? I mean, I don't know.
And Jabba's wife is fat.
Well,
you got an upgrade with slave girl Leia, right?
Yeah, where is she in Return of the Jedi? Did he just go get a divorce?
Yeta, but that's what happened.
Oh yeah, she was killed long ago.
She's
a plentiful
taking
meal
care
at
of
the
the
very
baby
least.
slugs. Yeah.
She was like, do the dishes and you just throw in the snake pit.
She's like one of those side people, like she's okay with his mobster activities, but she doesn't like his slaves and stuff. Let's see what we got here. We had an introduction, which some argue is necessary, some argue isn't, to R2-D2 and C-3PO. They didn't need to be in these movies, but then Lucas kind of went back and said like they're all told through their perception and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I go 50-50 on this. I think R2 is great. They get like an action scene and he saves the day and stuff, but 3PO, why was he made by Anakin?
That I thought again was forced. It's like you don't need to go back and retcon all of this stuff. C-3PO, he could have been introduced in any number of ways. Him being built by Anakin, I thought it was just weird.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they have to do that? I don't know.
Because
it
doesn't
doesn't
have any real friends of his own. He had that fat little kid.
I mean, it didn't bother me,
bounty
but it
hunter.
just seemed like that they felt like, oh, everything has to be tied together as closely as possible, and it just seemed forced.
Mm-hmm.
No pun
No
intended.
pun intended. Which fat kid are you talking about? The one that's Lucas's daughter?
No, the fat Asian kid. And then you had baby Greedo.
Well, that's
And
the one that's a friend of his isn't Greedo. Greedo's in a deleted scene.
Oh, no, that's baby Greedo. I don't care what anybody says.
And then there's Kidster, which is just like Kidster. Come on, man.
Yeah.
One thing that I really, really loved about this movie, I have to say is probably my favorite thing about this, is that the Jedi themselves, they're like mythic and awesome, and we get a cool concept like the Jedi Council, which beforehand we didn't know about, and we just kind of take it for granted. Like everybody talks about the prequels as being nothing good about it, yet everybody talks about the Jedi Council, and everybody talks about the lightsaber fights, and like they just ignore the good stuff, kind of. How awesome are the Jedi in this movie?
Oh, I love it. I love how there's just you can see how powerful and in control they really were before the Empire.
Yeah, I think seeing the backstory a little more with that definitely opens up the universe a lot more.
Yeah.
And especially, seeing the council sitting all together, like when they bring Anakin before him and they're testing him and things like that. I thought scenes like that were really great. You could see how some of the Jedi on the council, would talk with each other about things that were going on, and especially when it came to Anakin and training and things like that.
You know what was epic? Obi-Wan Kenobi's ponytail.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
And the little dangling thing. The little braid.
Braid thing. Yeah, that was weird.
Did you guys ever see the deleted, the backstage featurette thing? The DVDs for these are awesome, by the way. Everybody should check them out. Where when they were originally cutting his hair, and he's talking about how he's got this like thick Highlander type of hair, and they weren't sure if they were going to go with 2 braids or not. He looks ridiculous. Because he's got like instead of Jar Jar's ears flapping around, it's like the 2 braids are flapping.
Mm-hmm.
So glad they went with 1 braid.
Yeah.
A lot of like Native American stuff, kind of like Native American plus samurai. Kind of got that feel.
Well, it has that, kind of, mythical, spiritual, in touch with nature kind of a background to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of in touch with nature, we get an introduction of the midichlorians.
Woohoo!
So that's coupled up with this idea that it's a retcon, sort of, although it wasn't necessarily mentioned in the other things, so it doesn't change anything. It just adds more to it. But the idea that Anakin is like Jesus Christ, this allegory where he's going to bring balance to the Force because of a prophecy and all this. On the idea of the prophecy and on midichlorians, how do you guys feel about that?
The midichlorians, again, why did that have to be a thing? I don't get it. The Force, I thought, being a little more mysterious and, intangential, I think was better. When you say that it's these microscopic things living in your blood, that I just don't like how they did that at all. And the fact that Anakin, didn't have a father, I was like, oh, come on, really? You're going to go that far with a Jesus, comparison? I thought that was unnecessary too.
Shmi's just a whore, and she's lying.
Oh.
She used to be hanging out at Jabba's place.
Can you imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi going to Luke Skywalker when he turns off his visor? Believe in your blood. Believe in your blood, Count Luke.
It's like, so do you feel anything crawling around your skin, your blood, or anything like that? And he's like, a little bit. He's like, good.
Now, see, I always thought the Force was some sort of mystic power. That's why why they always went, believe in the Force. But no, you gotta believe in your blood count. Believe in your white cell count, Luke.
Nanomachines?
Yeah, because couldn't they make it, like, if they wanted to show that Anakin is over 20,000 of something, couldn't it just be, like, his power level, like, the energy that radiates from him or something?
Yeah. Oh, now we're going into Dragon Ball Z territory.
I don't know shit about Dragon Ball Z. So I can't help you out with that one. But I don't know. I kind of like the prophecy angle a little bit. It gives a little bit more of a reason for why they're so special. Instead of just like that they're powerful. Well, anybody could be powerful.
Prophecy was in episode 3, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. We get this like built on throughout the movies and stuff. So they do little twists and turns and stuff, and we'll tackle that stuff later. But I'll defend midichlorians at least a little bit. I think that the idea is a little bit flawed and it's unnecessary, but I kind of see where he was going with it. So it doesn't bug me too much, more like it does everybody else. Like, what bugs me about this movie more than anything are little things, like Anakin yelling yippee and asking if Padme is an angel. That's a little over the board.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
that was kind of...
I forgot about that. I really don't like what they did with, like, the Jesus thing and the angels. Yeah. Oh, I didn't like that aspect.
Like, wouldn't he know if she's an angel if he's Jesus? But they had cool stuff. Like, they had the decoy Padme thing. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really liked that.
It's Keira Knightley, for those who don't know.
Yeah, she was one of them. Yeah.
And apparently their parents would get them confused because they look so much alike. But some of the other people, too. One of them, Sashay, I think is the name of the the one? I don't
Is
know
that
for
Sofia
sure.
Coppola?
Yeah, Sofia Coppola.
Yeah, she was one of them. Yeah.
So I didn't
wish
know
they
that at the
kept Keira
time.
Knightley though, over what's Portman?
Portman.
Keira Knightley's such a better actress.
She's grown into a better actress, I think. At the time, I don't know. But big fan of both. I mean, they look exactly alike. How can I not like both? You know?
Portman's got the bigger breasts.
That's true. Yeah. Thumbs up for both anyway, still. What do you guys think about the racist trade federation in Watto?
I like Watto. I think he's a great character. Again, it's kind of over the top with how they were portraying him, as the stingy, dealer.
You could say Joe.
Yeah.
That's what they were going with.
Well, the Trade Federation guys, though, I mean, that was... I didn't really have a problem with them either. I like how they made those characters. You really understood their motivation and where they're coming from. So I didn't really have a problem with either of those.
Not even the dialogue or the whole, the Jedi. Like, that kind of stuff.
I was okay with that.
So, biggest thing that I haven't mentioned yet that I think that really needs to be called out on. I mean, there's lots of little things that we can talk about, whether or not Qui-Gon disappeared and all that other stuff, but the main thing that I would tie this all back together in as just that Darth Maul fight.
Yeah.
That's so good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Best fight out of all 6 movies, I think.
Agreed.
They did a good job finding that actor.
And the pacing of it, too, was perfect. How they had the little partitions sort of separating them like that. It added so much to the suspense. And especially when Darth Maul was in the part where they couldn't get to him at all yet, and he was just kind of pacing back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
That just, the anticipation of that moment is great.
Yeah, like a hungry animal.
I don't get why Qui-Gon bowed. That's the one thing that pissed me off.
I think that's supposed to be him, concentrating.
Yeah, he was meditating, I think.
Or maybe he's just praying to the Force, please don't kill me. And then he's like, oh, fuck.
I preferred the fight on Tatooine.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's, just kind of blocked and you don't see what's going on?
Pretty much. And the best fight out of all of them was Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi in the third one.
Well, I'll argue against you in that one.
The music score was better in this one.
We had Duel of the Fates in this, though.
Such a good song.
That is so... that's one of the best things about the prequels in general, too. That song is so great.
Hats off to John Williams.
The man. So, what are your least favorite and favorite parts that we haven't mentioned yet, and what would you give this out of a ranking 0 to 10, 10 being the highest? Kayla, I'm going to go with you first.
Overall, I'd probably give it a 7, I would say. As far as favorite parts, like you said, the final lightsaber duel, how they kind of had the different battles going on at the same time. I like that part a lot. How you had the land battle between the Gungans and the droid army. You had the lightsaber battle, and you also had the space battle going on at the same time. And just how they all coordinated together, I thought that was really great. The pod race was pretty cool.
Space battle's better though, because this is pod racing.
Oh gosh! All right, yeah. And then they add shit like that.
I'll try a neat trick. Spinning is a neat trick. Fuck you, you little shit.
Whoa!
But overall, I enjoyed it very much, and I still enjoy it to this day.
Angie, 0 to 10, and some other parts you want to throw out there?
I'm going to say, let me think. Yeah, a 7.5, 8. I really enjoyed this one. And, I'm going to go with Kaylin about the battles and just the visual, just everything was so beautiful.
Oh,
but it was the speech. It was, some of those lines that really ruined it for me.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that the dialogue in the prequels was one of the weak parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to say we didn't mention this today, but one of the weakest things that they actually did go back and fix, one of the few things they fixed in the prequels, was the terrible Yoda puppet.
Yeah, that was really
yeah.
It was really, really bad. And they actually went back and fixed that one. That's one change I'm definitely in favor of.
little smushed in face.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Sean, 0 to 10, what would you give this, and what are your favorite and least favorite parts we may not have mentioned yet, or ones we did?
I gave it a 5.5.
Aw.
It's a high five. It's a high five, but I didn't like.
High five.
I know.
I didn't like most of the characters. The only character I did like was Obi-Wan Kenobi, because Ewan McGregor is the fucking man. I didn't like the way the spaceships looked. They all looked like knobs.
The little starfighter.
No, the big silver ship, you know.
Oh, the
The one that looked like a big giant dildo.
Nubian cruiser or whatever I think it's
Yeah.
called.
And you got the stupid hairstyles. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is the donut? Hair.
Well, we had cinnamon buns before, so we need a different pastry.
And then,
They would have gone with Danish and Attack of the Clones and like I don't know.
I didn't like the
cannoli
fact
and
that
Richard-
Anakin was like a 10-year-old. I didn't like his haircut either. Like a bowl cut, really.
Yeah. Oh,
Although
he's a
he did
stupid little
change it.
kid.
He did change it towards the end. He did have the stupid little Obi-Wan ponytail going on. So that was something. The goods. The good. What can I think? The double lightsaber, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get a different
yeah.
type of lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which, when you first saw that, you were probably just kind of all like, "Oh shit!" How cool was that?
I am getting bored though of the fact that the dark side lightsabers are always red.
Well, I think that's some kind of thing that they've said, like it's like a special crystal that they use or something. I don't know. I don't follow the expanded universe.
One thing I would like to add is one of the worst lines in the movie, I think, which, got every time it shows in the theater, everyone gets a chuckle out of it. But I'm like, oh, it's groan worthy. It's Obi-Wan says something to Anakin. He's like, Anakin, you're going to be the death of me, or something.
That's an Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
Okay, I was in Attack of the Clones. Okay, but it was in this one. He was like, oh, pleased to meet you. Yeah, that's right. And then the second one,
You're a Jedi too? Pleased to
Yeah.
meet you. And Obi-Wan's just like, the fuck's this kid?
Yeah, okay, the other cringeworthy line is in the next one, so we'll get to that.
Well, there's plenty of cringeworthy stuff in Phantom Menace, but I will argue to the end of my day that there are still plenty of good stuff in this movie. People like to complain about the Senate stuff. I think it's necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love
think-
the political stuff.
A good way to show off like Palpatine before he's the Emperor. Like, he's awesome.
It's all about E.T.'s brothers.
Yeah, E.T.'s in the movie. Like, come on, man. There's rumors that Predator is too, but I don't remember seeing any of that.
No.
But I'd have to probably give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7, depends on my mood. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff. If you take out Jar Jar and you up Anakin and you change the dialogue, maybe you get rid of like a little bit of the pod race setup and stuff, I think you got a really solid movie. And I mentioned, of course, before, probably my favorite part, that lightsaber fight at the end. Least favorite stuff, anything with Jar Jar for the most part, because, bumbling around with a little bomb and all that, just get rid of it. Just, he should have been killed. But that's part 1. We got 5 more to go. Episode 2 is coming up next. If you are on iTunes and Stitcher, you don't have to do a single thing but sit back and relax, because we'll return in just a moment with that one. But if you're on YouTube, then what you got to do is click on the next part to go on to Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Stay tuned, everybody. Movie Club number 21 will return. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you checked out Episode 1 of Phantom Menace, and you're continuing on here with Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, released 2002. It's got a 65 and a 59 as far as the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes goes. So again, the score is not really that fantastic, hovering around the 60 range, but can't really blame them all that much, because this is one of the more problematic ones. And there's some good stuff again, and some bad stuff. We're going to break that down naturally and whatever, but I got a feeling we're going to be a little bit down on this one in a lot of the same sort of ways. So, keeping that in mind, Kalen, what's your first thoughts of Attack of the Clones? First time you saw it, and how's it holding up?
Well, like all the other ones, the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's Star Wars. It's a new one. This one quickly dropped off, however, in repeated viewings. This one is, I think, the one that least stands up to the test of time, and in my opinion, the weakest of the 6 released so far. And I'm pretty adamant about that. You know, compared to all the other ones, this one definitely is the weakest in my opinion. There's some really good spots. You know, we had the introduction of Jango Fett. We had Camino and the clones. A lot of filler, though. I felt this one more than any other one had just filler. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. What do you guys think?
Angie, what do you think?
There were some aspects I really enjoyed, like the explanation of the clones and the beginning of Boba Fett's story, you know, how he came to be. I enjoyed those. I enjoyed the new aliens that were introduced. But yeah, there was a lot of filler, and it is the weakest of the three.
Sean, you agree with the same opinion? A lot of filler, not really so great.
To quote my favorite Simpsons character, worst movie ever.
Worst movie or worst Star Wars movie ever?
It was
Come on.
the worst movie ever.
Oh,
there was
I
nothing
wouldn't go
good
that
about
far.
this. There's nothing good about this. I'll tell you, like, there was one good thing about this, and that's Natalie Portman in that white top.
Well, see, there's one of your little parallels, and it really becomes obvious in episode 2, where Lucas has said before that there's like a rhythm to things, and he likes to make it like poetry, where he's kind of getting a little bit like a little too high up on his own horse about that. But in episode 1, we had the bearded mentor Jedi gets killed. Same thing as in A New Hope with Obi-Wan. In episode 2, for instance, we had a couple different things, like both times around in episode 2 and in episode 5, a Skywalker gets his hand cut off. The main female character is wearing white instead of like the buns on her head and like doing that kind of stuff like that. And she gets a more of like an action kind of a role than she did the first time around. And they both end on a downer. And they both end with two people and the two droids looking out like some kind of like, you know, what's happening kind of in the future sort of thing. Mm-hmm. First thing I want to bring up, though, about this whole thing is, what do you guys think about the idea of ending on a downer? Is that a good thing for Attack of the Clones, or is that something that is kind of unnecessary because Revenge of the Sith has to end on a downer?
I don't think Revenge of the Sith necessarily did end on a downer.
Everybody died.
But we know what it was leading to. It wasn't, I don't know. Well, we'll get to that when we get to it. As far as ending on a downer, I don't think it necessarily, that in general, makes it good or bad. Like, for example, Empire Strikes Back ended on a downer. And I thought that worked really well. This one I thought worked well too. Obviously not as well as Empire. But I like that, you know, because we know this isn't the end of the story. So ending on a downer here, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. It's one of those, it's building up the anticipation for the next one. You know, okay, they may be down, things may be bleak, but we know that there's another chapter here. So I think it was good in that respect.
Anybody think that they should have had a little bit happier of an ending?
No, I disliked but enjoyed at the same time the similarities of what we knew was happening. I understand why he did it, but it was a little annoying because of how obvious it was.
So the 10-year gap problem, I think. You got somebody new coming in as Anakin, which, let's just state the obvious, Hayden Christensen, not fantastic.
Creepy stalker Anakin.
He is creepy immediately
Yeah.
in the movie.
Not
Immediately. Just kind of, sorry, milady.
I'm just gonna watch you sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that if we could have, to go back to what we said in episode 1, if he would have been a teenager then, we wouldn't have needed a 10-year gap. And maybe we could have had a better actor, too. Because the people that were too old for episode 1, they'd be around the right age for episode 2, and you know, like Ryan Phillippe, for instance, was one of the people that they were interested in doing. He would have been much better. Hayden Christensen's one of the downsides.
Yeah, I think they should have had a younger, different actor.
Well, the thing is, he's, in my opinion, not very charismatic.
Mm-mm.
He should have still been.
You know,
Was it
I don't know.
this episode that he talked about sand?
Yeah, I mean,
so Yeah.
As bad as an actor as he can be in there, he's not given much to work with. That sand dialogue is terrible. Oh, I don't like sand. It's coarse. It gets everywhere.
Gets everywhere.
I do think it's funny, though, that people have gone back and they've been like, they've kind of added more weight to that and said, well, of course Obi-Wan would go to Tatooine. Darth Vader doesn't ever want to go back to Tatooine. It's got sand. It's like, shit, all right, you're kind of making this make sense a little bit, you know? But the dialogue's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, the
all
whole
the so-called
scene...
romantic lines and that's
God,
the worst.
yeah. I mean, I truly, deeply love you, where they've like just kind of hung out a couple of times and stuff. And she says, "I'm dying a little each day since you've been back to my life." So cliche and
the talk about the first kiss. Oh, fuck off!
It's haunting me in my dreams and well.
Give me a break. Just go hang yourself.
It's pretty bad when the pear scene is better, where he cuts up the pear and gives it to her.
Yep.
I don't think the relationship should have been that strong then.
It's
it
pretty
did seem. It seemed like it was propelled
they should
forward
have
way too
eased up
fast.
to
But
what they
10-year-old
became.
Anakin had game, right?
Yeah. Are you an angel? Do you like sand?
Well, at least he was likable. Jake Lloyd was likable.
Yes.
Hayden Christensen isn't likable at all, in my opinion.
I don't know. I didn't like that little shit. Screw him. It's one scene though that I'll give them credit for, and it's not so much on the love story side of things. It's that part of the movie, but one cool moment that I really like that I don't think many people would ever even remember, let alone like bring up as a good point, is when Padme wakes up and she sees that Anakin is just meditating in the morning. I like that part. That was a cool little moment that showed like an extra little bit of that Jedi side. Like that they do this all the time. I like that. So kudos to Attack of the Clones for pulling out something very like reserved in this shitstorm of everything beating you over the head. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
there's-
agree.
There's another line that I really like when they're doing the love story side of things. It's in one of the worst parts of the movie, and I'm just going to say it out here. It's one of my potential least favorite scenes when they're tumbling around in the grass.
Oh God.
Oh.
Really
Yeah.
ridiculous. But they start talking about the idea that, like, diplomacy, whether it works or not. And Anakin says, well, people should sit around a table and they should all agree on stuff. And if they don't agree, well, then they should be made to. And she's like, well, that sounds more like a dictatorship. And he's like, well, if it works. That was a good little, like...
Yeah, I did like that kind of foreshadowing line there.
What
There's a
happened
couple-
before it shouldn't have.
You think so?
Rolling around in the grass.
Well, I thought you meant like it should have happened in episode 3.
Oh, okay. No.
Well, no, they should have cut out the rolling around in the grass thing and just did that line.
They should have come up with something different.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things. That's actually something that you can kind of attribute to most of the movie is they should have thought of something different.
Yeah.
Like the slugs in that opening thing. That's how they're going to try to kill Padme with these little slug things.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the shit monsters? Yeah.
The little worms that go through the window.
Why didn't they just shoot her with a laser, right?
Yeah, like that bounty hunter. I can't think of her name. Zam something or
Sam
other.
Wessel.
She's got like this rifle. She could just shoot Padme.
Yep. Or at least equip the robot with some fucking lasers.
Right.
I mean, she'd be dead then, instantly, and then we would never have had the build-up to 3, and then Vader would never have happened, and then, everything would have been tied up in a nice little package.
I understand why they didn't, they wanted something, that they wanted her to die very subtly in,
Yeah, that's why they blew up that ship at the beginning.
Poor Dorme. Or is it Dorme? Is that the one that dies?
I forget which one.
No, if it happened in her bedroom, they didn't want it to be obvious how she died. And they wanted it to be quiet.
They just wanted creepy Anakin to go into her bedroom.
Yeah, he senses the worms there, so he comes in, swinging a lightsaber and chops them in half. And come on.
I bet he was swinging something else when he was watching.
Oh!
He's like, I sense
the
it.
world
She's
of
taking her top
Paris.
off. But he just stares through the window, because he's creepy as hell in this movie.
The amount of creepy stares, dude. You can have a drinking game with that.
Mm-hmm. Either a creepy stare or a creepy line. Like there's the
He
line at the
doesn't
very
ever
beginning of
blink
it.
when he's looking at Padme either. It's weird. It's like, blink, dude. It's all right to blink. She may be fit.
Well, see, he's
Dude.
part Ewok. He doesn't blink until they go back and change it. I do like, though, the weird scene with the slug stuff, but it leads to a cool chase scene. And Anakin's got a cool little bit in that where he's acting a little careless and showing off that he's, like, kind of a jerk. And,
Well, he has to. He was a great pilot.
yeah, he jumps off the side of it, and,
Yeah.
you know, Obi-Wan's just kind of like, shit, dude, stop doing this. I don't like flying. Bad part about it, though, when they get shocked and he's sitting there going, and all that, like, unnecessary. It's not funny. Didn't like that. But that leads to a great line, at the very least, in the little nightclub that they've got. Why do I get the feeling you'll be the death of me?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that line, as I was saying in the previous episode we were doing here. I mean, I get it, obviously, but I just thought it was one of those it was like almost fourth wall breaking to me. It's like they're going to the audience, you know, like, hey, get it, guys, because he kills him, get it.
I'll fully admit, I loved that when I first saw it. I thought that was fantastic. I do like the Death Sticks line, though. That's great. You want to go home and rethink your life.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool little parts in that. They got a bunch of cameos that people might not be aware of. Ahmed Best, who was Jar Jar, is in that. So is Anthony Daniels, who's C-3PO. George Lucas's daughter again shows up. She's the one that does the creepy stare to Anakin, which is like, you know, kind of payback, I guess, for all of his creepy stares. But that's a cool thing. We got Jango Fett is in this movie. We mentioned before. That's an interesting idea, I think. The clone army being based off of him as a source material. I like that.
Yeah, I like the introduction to Jango Fett, you know, learning a little bit more background about Boba Fett there. And that's one of my favorite parts of the movie is where Obi-Wan travels to Kamino. You know, he takes the one Kamino dart and he, you know, finds out where that is and goes and travel and meets with the cloners. And just, you know, the first introduction, you know, when he meets Jango and he's like, oh, you ever make it as far as, you know, and he's like, yeah, occasionally. He's like, recently. And so kind of, you know, the play between them, I really like that. And, you know, they each knew each other was onto him. But then when he finally comes out on the bay and he has his helmet on and he's loading onto Slave One, and I just loved the whole Kamino scene. I thought that part was great.
That fight is awesome. And it shows that Kenobi's a badass. Because he loses the lightsaber and he still ends up basically winning that fight.
Yep.
One of my favorite things about the movie is the way the visual of the world and the cloner aliens and how
they're kind of like grays.
Yeah.
The sort of
I
long.
loved how they looked, and as soon as I found one of their toys, I bought it.
Oh yeah, I like those. Those are great.
It explains why they're all a bad shot, right?
Yeah, because I mean, they kind of like they're like watered down versions of a bounty hunter instead of somebody who's actually like good. But he misses a lot of shots in this too. I mean, he misses that one shot where Obi-Wan kicks him. And it's just like, really, dude, you missed that shot?
Mm-hmm.
And then he forgets that his jetpack doesn't work at the end, where Mace Windu is able to just chop his head off.
And then the chase afterwards, when, you know, with Slave One dropping those
seismic
I forget what they're
charges.
called. Yeah, exactly. And just especially seeing that part in the theater is great with the huge sound, because it's like dead silence and whoa.
That is so awesome.
Oh, that was so powerful. I loved it.
Did you guys know that apparently in that asteroid field, at one point, one of them is a potato?
I heard that.
Well, I thought that was in one of the original trilogy films. Was it? in
No,
this
that
one
was
also?
you're thinking of the Millennium Falcon was an asteroid.
Yeah, there was a potato in here also.
I think there is.
Okay,
They might have just made that like a regular thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I just like the idea that there's potatoes hanging out in space, like some giant potato.
Yeah,
heading
I
to that
forgot
Irish
about
planet.
that. But I remember hearing that there was a potato.
So here's a question for you guys: why is Jar Jar in the Senate?
Yeah. Well, because he basically took over for Padme, right?
Yeah, but like, why would anybody ever trust him?
They wanted to save the character.
Because he was just so damn heroic in episode 1. that, but at least his role was significantly diminished here. They needed a patsy. They needed somebody to make stupid decisions in the Senate. So, oh, sure, we'll, vote emergency powers. And, we all know where that led to. So somebody needed to make a poor decision, and why not make it Jar Jar?
Because
I mean, I don't think
Jar Jar is the Sith Lord.
I mean, I don't buy into that.
That would have been great.
I don't think it was necessary to have him in there, but it's again one of those things where they have to tie everything together, and unnecessary.
He grew up.
He should have just died. He should have been one of the casualties from the past 10 years. They would have been like, oh, poor Jar Jar.
He should have been on that spaceship which blew up on the first opening scene.
Yeah, he should have been the handmaiden. It's bugging me that I can't remember if that's Dorme or not. Rose Byrne is the actress later on. She's not the one that dies, but one of them's Dorme. Either the one that dies or maybe it's her. I don't know. Thoughts on the nightmares and the whole slaughtering the Sand People, his mom's death, that kind of thing. Is it good motivation for Anakin turning to the dark side?
I mean, I think it obviously shows that he's afraid of loss and that his fear is what's driving him more than anything. So I think that was a good part to add to it. I liked when he, went back and, later on and, slaughtered all the Sand People. And I thought that was cool.
I like how he kills the women and the children, too, because he's just so out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, damn, dude, really? They're jerks, but come on. So
yeah,
awesome.
I enjoyed it. It showed how, he can turn his mind off and how the fear took over.
Yeah, he's very emotionally driven.
Yeah, his emotions just flooded out.
The crying was a bit much.
Really?
Damn fucking A, the crying was a bit much. My God. I killed him! I killed them all!
Well, I didn't think
the women! The children! The animals!
It showed that
fuck me, dude.
While he's emotionally driven, he's still conflicted about it. He's in that transitional phase where
he still gives a shit.
Yeah, he knows what's right and wrong, but he has trouble adhering to, logic and compassion, and he just kind of goes with fear and his strong emotion.
He didn't cry when he killed the younglings.
Well, oh no, at that point he was too far gone.
Yeah. Plus, come on, little kids. At that point, if you're going to kill a little kid, you're a horrible person already. If you kill the Sand People and stuff, then you're starting to get to the point where you're getting bad. Like, I think it's rationalized a little bit.
Yeah, Anakin can slaughter little kids, but we can't have Han Solo shooting first.
No. Well, he's a better guy, right?
Sure.
What do you guys think about the big set piece at the end, Geonosis? We've got, I would say highlights when it comes to, like, there's so many Jedi and that's going crazy and stuff, but at the same time, we got this little side thing with C-3PO doing some stupid jokes and whatever. It leads us to Count Dooku, which is like, there's some cool parts there. First time we saw somebody fight with 2 lightsabers, but for some reason he just stands there and gets his arm cut off. Obviously, one of the biggest things that people, when they went to see this movie, they wanted to go see it again, was the crowd went nuts when Yoda was about to fight. Just, oh shit, Yoda's gonna fucking fight with a lightsaber.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet, finally seeing that. Yeah, that was really cool.
He's a little weird, though, that thing and bouncing around like an idiot. But pretty cool, though, overall, though, I would have to say. Geonosis is pretty fun.
That.
Yeah, I like that, where they're, chained to the pillars, and then they have the creatures coming out there, and I like that whole part, It was action-filled, and it was a lot of fun.
What's your favorite out of the 3 animals?
Let's see, we have the Reek, we have the Ackley, and we have what was the other one called?
The spider thing.
Oh, that was the Ackley.
Ackley.
Which one was the Reek? Was that the
That was like
wolf
the
thing?
rhinoceros-looking thing.
Oh, that thing. Whatever the wolf thing was.
Yeah, it has an X in it. Shit. Nexu or something like that. I don't remember. Somebody, leave it in the comments below. I think it was the Nexu. Of those, definitely the Ackley. The,
good man.
Spider praying mantis looking one. I thought he was the coolest.
With the cool
shriek.
shriek.
I did too.
Oh, yeah.
And since spiders are probably my least favorite animal. Yeah, that was the one that got me.
Yes, Reek, Ackley, and Nexu. Thank you, Google.
Nexu. Thank you, the people that left that in the comments before this part. So, again, wrapping this all up, 0 to 10, some favorite parts, some least favorite parts. Angie, I'm going to start with you this time.
I'm going to say 5.5.
Anything that stands out that gives it that -5? Well, the -4.5.
I'm going to say it's all based around Anakin and what they did with him.
Justified. Sean?
A 2.
2.
Oh, man.
It was
Harsh.
fucking terrible. I hated the ending. I hated the end battle. I hated Count Dooku's lightsaber. Why the fuck was it shaped like a walking stick? I have no idea.
Because he needed it.
Yeah, but then you would think that with Yoda, but Yoda threw his walking stick away and he started doing fucking front flips and shit. He was doing parkour. That was fucking stupid as fuck. Then you had Aiden Christensen. Everybody knows my thoughts on him. I think he's a fucking stupid piece of shit. What else? There's a lot bad in this. You got the fact that C-3PO was put on a droid's body. That was fucking stupid. You got all the stuff with the clones. I didn't need to see that. That was a bit shit. A bit long-winded. That could have been a 5-minute segment, but it went on for like 25 minutes to 30 minutes. There was no mention of Qui-Gon in this entire film, which was kind of shitty because he was the best part about episode 1.
He yells out to Anakin when he's killing the sand people. Remember, he's like, Anakin.
I'll give props to Natalie Portman in the white. There you go. That's why there's the 2 points.
Kaylin, are you getting a higher score than that, or are you sticking around that kind of 2 range?
No, I give it higher than a 2 here. There was plenty of parts that I did like. Like I was saying, the whole part on Geonosis with, the big attack where they're chained up and then the animals coming to get them, and then it just turns into an all-out brawl when the clones show up and everything. As far as overall, I'd probably have to give it, I'm going to say about 5.5 or 6, somewhere in the kind of that middle of the road range. Compared to all movies in general, it's not that bad, Sean. I've seen way worse movies. But, definitely, in my opinion, the weakest of all the Star Wars movies released so far.
I think if you combine this and Revenge of the Sith, you get an awesome movie.
Oh, yeah.
On its own, I got to stick around that 5-something range, too. And one of the main reasons why is my least favorite stuff about this movie, the stupid, cheesy jokes again. The C-3PO stuff, Dex's diner. Just like, what? I'm going to have a diner and there's a robot named Flo. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But they had some good stuff, too. I loved the idea of Yoda instructing the younglings and showing off that he's still got that sense of humor. He jokes about, Master Obi-Wan's lost a planet. How careless, that kind of thing. And showing the archives, more of the Jedi Temple, and showing the Jedi full force just attacking Geonosis. Awesome. That's episode 2 for you guys. So we're going to continue on here. Part 3, again, iTunes and Stitcher people. See you in a minute. For people on YouTube, click on part 3. And if for some reason you're clicking on part 2 and you hadn't watched episode 1, go back, check that one out. And then join us again in Revenge of the Sith. Welcome back. Part 3, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, came out 2005, the year I graduated from high school. So that was a great year, because we're getting the end of Star Wars, we're getting the end of high school. Awesome stuff around that time. A little bit higher on the scale for this one on Rotten Tomatoes. We got a 79 for the critics, and a 65 for audience. So you bump up 5 points, essentially. Nice. And I think that pretty much most people can agree. Attack of the Clones went down in a lot of ways. Phantom Menace, of course, had gone down from the original trilogy, but Revenge of the Sith started to kind of move things a little bit back up. And that's why I'm not so worried about Force Awakens all that much. I think that they've learned their lessons by now. We had, for instance, Jar Jar is only in, one shot, and he just kind of goes, excuse me, or something like that. That's it. So, yay, Jar Jar. And instead of getting something like the Gungans all acting weird or whatever like that, we get the Wookiees. They're ripping arms off and shit. But Revenge of the Sith, As far as first impressions and stuff, how did you guys kind of view this from before? How does it stand up over time? Sean, what do you think?
I wasn't expecting you to go first for this. That's why I was muted. I liked it. I really enjoyed certain parts of the film. Other certain parts of the film could have been totally taken out, and I wouldn't have given a shit. Like the fact that General Grievous was in the film, he could have been taken out.
What? Grievous is awesome.
What?
Yeah.
Grievous didn't have to be in there. The whole Order 66. No, pick a different number. 66. 66.
66 is more threatening than like Order 8. That seems like something that would be on like the menu of Wendy's or whatever. I'll have an Order 8, please.
What do you reckon orders? The other orders were like Order 65. Order 65 was like, I'll have a double cheeseburger and cheese.
I think it's some of that blue milk.
Kill Jar Jar.
Some of those pears from episode 2.
The more love interest storyline that didn't have to be in there, and the dreams didn't have to be in there. But other than that, it was a good film. The pacing was pretty good on this film.
Kaylin, agree? Disagree? What do you think?
Oh, I agree. This was a huge step up from episode 2. I liked General Grievous in the movie. I liked him. I liked the whole opening scene on what was it, Grievous's flagship with Count Dooku, and then they're going there to sort of kill Dooku and rescue Palpatine, and I just like that whole scene. Overall, the movie is probably my favorite of the prequel trilogy. It had, Order 66. I thought that whole scene was great. We saw not Luke, but we saw Anakin's descent even further. And, in the end, obviously, he becomes Darth Vader totally. And I think it's a very, very strong movie.
Angie, your thoughts?
Yeah, this one is definitely my favorite. And I love the villains. Oh, there's so many things I like about them and what they do in the movies.
Even Grievous, Sean.
Yep.
See, he's so shocked that.
Aww.
What? I kind of accidentally loaded up a YouTube video and I kind of missed that. What?
Oh, Jesus.
The villains. I love the villains.
Why? There was one good villain in it. There was only one good villain in it, and that was Anakin Skywalker right at the end.
I will argue that Dooku sucks.
Why did he cut off his head?
Why not?
It's not necessary. He cut off his arm, so he cut off his head. Like, at least cut off his other arm. Like, an arm for an arm, like an eye for an eye, not an head for an arm.
He was too dangerous to be kept alive.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit,
as Palpatine said.
Yeah.
Oh, Palpatine would just want Anakin Skywalker all for himself, man.
See, now the way that
if General Grievous fucking shot him, right? Because he didn't have a fucking clue who he was.
If the way that Dooku gets killed, I don't know if that's something that directly influenced this or not or whatever, but if he would have had that cross guard, wouldn't have happened. Because he gets his hands cut off because of just the positioning, and that cross guard would have blocked that from happening. So maybe Kylo Ren's kind of learned the little problem about this. I liked him decapitating him, though. I thought that was a nice little, I don't know, it was unnecessary, which was cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I said I liked the villains. I didn't necessarily say I liked how they died.
That's true. Do you think that it's good that they kept him in here, though, or should they have killed Dooku in part 2 and just focus on Grievous?
No, I don't think Grievous by himself was strong enough. I think you needed Dooku, because that kind of plays into Palpatine, as far as how he's manipulating Anakin. And if they would have had that in episode 2, I would have thought it would have been moving too quickly. But even though they put this at the very beginning of the movie, basically, just seeing how much power that Palpatine has over influencing Anakin, I think is great in telling the story.
Yeah, it was great how quickly it happened in the movie. It was just a nice shock.
It was just like, now kill him.
Also, Shia LaBeouf stole Palpatine's "Just do it."
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
The do it thing, that's going to bring up something. I want to go back to this opening thing, but I don't want to forget about going into this topic, so I'm just going to go right into it now. How awesome Palpatine was in 1 and 2. I don't like him in episode 3. He's so weird.
Yeah, he's a little too cartoony and over the top evil. You know, it's like kind of beats you over the head with it.
Like the line that stands out to me, no, you will die. And it's like, what, dude? Come on, man. You could have.
You know who he reminds me of in this film? Is the villain from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Judge Doom.
Mm-hmm.
I think Doom's a little bit scarier than Palpatine. Palpatine's a joke in this one, and he looks. How does the special effects for his face look worse, and the makeup not on par with what they did in Return of the Jedi?
I know, yeah.
Okay, I turned into
Because he has plastic
kid when
surgery in the later ones that would make it less scarring.
Was it scary for you, Angie, when you were watching this? Is that what you mean?
No, I just love them so much. Like, I turned into a little kid when I saw this movie.
And at that time, I was, 17, 18, something like that. And I literally, when I'm watching that scene where he kills the Jedi and they, he does that stupid bird face when he's attacking Mace Windu. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. The first thing I thought, I was just like, oh, what the fuck? It's too easy to kill these Jedi. These are the council members and stuff. And I'm like, thinking to myself, the level of Jedi that should be easy to kill and shouldn't, whatever. I'm like, it took me out of it immediately. And then I'm laughing at the faces he's making and the "you will die" line, and oh god, it pissed me off. That could have been such a cool moment, and it's just funny. It's like I think it's either called funny aneurysm moment or NARM. I can't remember which one it is. One of them's where something's funny and it shouldn't be, and the other one's when something used to be funny, but then something happens and it's not funny anymore. Like if you make the Simpsons joke about, oh, they put all the jerks in Tower 1, and then 9/11 happens, and you're like, ugh. Yeah. But I think it's NARM is the thing that it's just like, you shouldn't be laughing at this. Lucas is just like, this is going to be so cool. He kills these Jedi, and then he says, no, you will die. And nobody on the set laughed that day and said, dude, come on. Takes me out of the movie. I don't know. I will say, though, there's one thing that kind of makes up for it a little bit, and it's a good showing of Palpatine, and that's that opera scene.
Exactly. I was just going to bring that up. You were talking about how Palpatine is annoying in this one, but I think that whole scene when he's there talking with Anakin and, just kind of, baiting him on, just luring him in about, oh, well, you're afraid to lose? Well, I can teach you how to cheat death. And, that manipulation there that they show, I think, just strengthens the relationship between Palpatine and Anakin. And you kind of see how he's lured in by, he's following his emotions. He wants to protect the people that he loves, and by any means necessary. So,
basically explained how he gave birth to Anakin Skywalker. Well,
I still think he didn't.
Anakin Skywalker. That was just weird. I manipulated the Mirachlorians to give life.
I still think he didn't.
Creepy as fuck.
Yeah. He's supposed to be creepy, though. Isn't that what's cool about it?
Yeah, that's the whole point.
It's not creepy as in... This creepy. It's creepy as in... You.
Well, what's creepier? The way that he's talking in that, or the way that Anakin's looking at Padme in episode 2?
Yeah. No comparison.
Oh.
It's about both.
Like father, like son. I want to go back to that opening thing that we were talking about before. We had the extended shot at the space battle. We had their badasses taking over that ship. We unfortunately had the little jokey droid voices when they're getting killed and stuff. But R2-D2 showing off that he's the man too by blowing them up with the fucking oil.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh.
He's awesome. But I think that was an awesome action sequence to start off with. And even when it comes to them landing the ship was kind of cool because you get to see like the Star Wars version of the fire department coming out to try to take the fire out. Like, I love that start to finish. I think that's a great way to start this movie. Just go right into the war, and then, the war ends. But strong action sequence, I would have to say. Agree, disagree? Anybody have any flaws they want to point out?
You're talking about the whole opening sequence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was very strong. That's one of those things that sometimes I'll just put that on and just watch that first sequence and, until they land. And that's a very strong sequence right there by itself.
Cut it off right when he says another happy landing.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the fact Anakin Skywalker was wearing black.
That's foreshadowing.
Yeah,
Literally shadowing.
Luke Skywalker wore black in the last one as well, didn't he?
Yep.
So it's all swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, episode 1, Anakin's wearing that tan kind of stuff. Episode 2, he's got that brownish stuff. Episode 3, he's got black.
He looks better in black, Adrian Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Better with the scar, too.
Yeah.
And
that
the
was
long hair.
unexplained. How the fuck did you get the scar? That was against Dooku, was it? Oh, no.
I don't know if they explained that in anything. They didn't in the movies, at the very least, but it might be like the Clone Wars TV show. I never actually watched that whole thing.
Well, to be fair, they never explained General Grievous to me. That's why I was completely lost in the fucking character again. Didn't read the books. Didn't read much into it.
I'm just confused about why
he's
like
here's General
hacking.
Grievous.
Like that whole like coughing thing is a little bit weird.
Well, that was supposed to be a parallel to the Darth Vader voice, I think.
Yeah. But I do like Grievous though. I like that he's like they started working on this idea of cyborgs.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, come on, the 4 lightsaber thing. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Like when he starts spinning them
Mm-hmm.
in circles and stuff. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a shame Obi-Wan
McGregor.
Kenobi, I have to get that in the end, didn't flinch when he was spinning them around, right? He just stood there.
Oh, that's because he's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
He jumps
I'm
right
sorry,
into
I'm sorry,
the...
if some nutter was coming at me with 4 fucking lightsabers, right? I'd flinch a bit, I'd move back, and then grab my lightsaber, but no, he just stands there like a boss, like he stood in front of a green screen and didn't know what the fuck was coming at him.
Nah, it's because he's a badass. He jumps into the action and goes, hello there. He just kind of like, I'm going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Cool little thing, too, with him killing him with the blaster and then just saying so uncivilized. I like that. That was a nice
Yeah,
little nod.
yeah, I thought that was a good touch.
How annoying, though, is that beast that he's riding?
Thank you.
Yeah, that was kind of
terrible.
a little much.
That yelping. Ugh. That was like the Jar Jar of this. Like that, I was so happy when that thing got killed.
No.
And when that stupid little thing died and you had to feel sorry for it, nobody fucking felt sorry for it. It was like, oh, well, now we get to the best part where Anakin turns fucking evil.
Yeah, but at least they drown out the death yelps with that awesome score. Because Order 66 has great music to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy music in general, I love that. Like that one shot where he's trying to debate with himself whether or not he's going to go save Palpatine from Mace Windu. Real, like, impending doom, pivotal moment in the series where he can either turn to the dark side or not, and you just get this feeling of just, like, shit's going to go down. I loved that when I saw that the first time. Still love it to this day. I think that holds up really well.
I'm proud to share the last name with him.
John Williams?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking Skywalker. I'm like, wait, what?
Skywalker?
No, John.
So I'm going to pose a question here. Should Anakin have been a master on the council, or is the Jedi Council justified? Who's right here?
What do you think, Sean?
I think Anakin was treated poorly ever since he walked in through the fucking building. Alright, if Yoda opened his open arms and went, come here, my little 10-year-old boy. You know? But no,
That
it was like,
out-creeped the other stuff.
the fuck out. You're not the fucking chosen one. You got a stupid fucking haircut, get out. And he was made to feel like an outcast. So, in theory, Anakin had a point when they said that the Jedi were holding him back. The Jedi just didn't like him.
Mace Windu clearly didn't.
That's because Mace Windu was a racist.
No, I think, because the rest of the Jedi kind of knew that there was something off about Anakin, whether or not they knew the full extent of it. And so not promoting him to Jedi Master, I think, makes sense. Also, if they would have, then he wouldn't have, doubted his faith in the Jedi as much, and he wouldn't have been as eager or ready to, sort of turn against the Jedi and side with Palpatine. So story-wise, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, story-wise, I understand why it happened.
What did they grant him? Like semi-master or some shit like that, wasn't it? Like he was allowed to sit on the fucking Jedi talks, but
Yeah, he was allowed to sit.
master.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's on the council, but he's not a master. Then he's
What a
bitching
slap
about
in the
that.
face. To be fair, though, Anakin was a whiny little bitch.
Mm-hmm. He
So
whined a little bit
I
too
could
much.
see why you wouldn't want a whiny little bitch in your cool club, like, you know, Miguel.
Oh.
See, I think some of the choices could have been a little bit better. Like maybe Anakin. I mean, I think he's justified in being like, "What? That's an insult. That's an insult." I don't know why I pronounced it that way. That's an insult. You know, it's never happened in the history of the council, kind of thing, or whatever like that. But I would have appreciated maybe some quick shot of him just like looking at Windu, like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, dude." Just, that would have been a good little. You know, you're dead, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna be number 2 on the council in no time because there's gonna be an open spot, you bastard.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could have done some things a lot better. But they had the right idea, at least, for a lot of these things. Like the end fights here, we had Yoda versus Palpatine in the Senate, which was cool, you know, chucking the Senate seats and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That was very cool.
But it bugs me that he loses the fight and he goes, "Into exile I must go." Dude, you got shit to do. You lost one fight.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Like Obi-Wan, he takes care of Anakin essentially, and he just goes right into like, well, now we got to deal with Padme, we got to do this. Like Obi-Wan gets his stuff done. Yoda is a coward.
That's
I did think it was weird that he kind of exiled himself after that.
Like he gets saved by Bail Organa. It's just kind of like, so you know any good like swamp planets?
He needed to buy himself a tree to live in.
Sorry.
He was looking for real estate, right? And he was like, "Ooh, this Dagobah system looks pretty inhabitable. So let's go live there. Fuck all this shit. I need a vacation."
I always thought that he just got flooded with what was going to happen in the future and knew he had to protect himself.
Like he had like a vision, kind of.
Yeah.
All right, I'll justify it that way.
Sure, why
And
not?
that's just something I made up in my mind to try and explain what happened.
That'll be the term for that's headcanon, where it's like you make it up and it makes sense and stuff. I'll take that as headcanon for myself from now on too.
Yeah, he just knew he didn't stand a chance where he was. So.
I just think he was just clinically depressed.
Aww.
He just needed to get away from it all. He was washed over with grief because Anakin killed all the younglings.
He's like, I miss Mace.
Yeah.
So he went to
Mace Windu
Dagobah,
died,
started listening to Linkin Park.
His life partner died, you know. It's all a bit sad.
End, it doesn't really matter.
And now you got flagged for copyright.
If I did, I'll be pissed. So, the big end fight, of course, Sean mentioned it before, one of the highlights of the movie, Anakin versus Obi-Wan. Thoughts on that? Is it too choreographed or is it just too awesome?
It's awesome. I mean, especially where it was on Mustafar with, you know, you got the lava everywhere and you just how they play with the shadow and the light during that whole scene. Fantastic. I mean, I don't think they really could have improved on that end scene or, you know, the lightsaber battle portion of it very much. As far as the lightsaber battles go, that is up there. You know, we were talking before about the Darth Maul one at the end of episode 1. And I think those two are the highlights of the prequels. I mean, as far as lightsaber battles go.
See, I've got a bone to pick about this fight. They end it with Obi-Wan saying, "It's over. I've got the high ground." Darth Maul had the high ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Obi-Wan learned from that experience, you see. Whereas where he did a flip over Darth Maul didn't swing his lightsaber. Whereas when Anakin did the flip, he was like, "Fuck this, I've seen this before. Deja vu, I'm just gonna swing."
But I think what that was saying was that they know each other so well. They know their strengths and weaknesses. You know, they know their counter, or not counterpoints, but their, you know, counteractions. So basically, it boils down to whoever had the high ground was victorious. So
Like
since
that's
they know
Vader's weak point.
Well, yeah, I guess, or whichever one would have had the high ground would have been come out on top, figuratively and literally. But I just thought that part just showed how much they know each other and their strengths and weaknesses.
Underestimate my power. Don't try it, Anakin. Oh, that's fucking great, man. And then you got the whole speech, the one where he was like, "You were the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness." It's like the best thing ever. It's great. And he called him his brother,
Some of those lines are so terrible, though. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Yeah.
God damn, man. Nobody on the set wanted to rewrite that line that day.
Nah, fuck that.
Or Obi-Wan saying only the Sith deal in absolutes. Mm-hmm. It's an absolute. Jerk.
And the fact that he was fighting for democracy.
Yeah, democracy.
And the way Ewan McGregor says, "Your new empire." It's fucking great.
And I'm going to skip ahead to my least favorite thing about this whole movie and just say this line right now. No, it's because I'm so in love with you.
Oh, I thought you were going to just Duel of Fates now. I was about to slap you.
No, Duel of Fates is awesome.
Duel of Fates is the best score in any Star Wars film ever.
No, but that scene with Padme and Anakin where he's saying, "You're beautiful," and she's like, "That's just because I'm in love." And he's like, "No, it's because I'm so in love with you." It's like...
Yeah.
Is this written by a 10-year-old?
I completely forgot about this.
I will argue, though, the nightmare stuff is very good when it comes to, he already went through this with his mom. Mm-hmm. Now he's doing it through Padme, so he knows that she's going to die. And that's a good motivator, I think.
Do you reckon Palpatine made those dreams, though?
No, I think it's just Anakin being God. Because it's essentially what he is, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up a little bit here. Final thoughts on it comes to Revenge of the Sith. What's your 0 to 10 and anything else you want to throw out there? Sean?
I give this an 8. Only because of Duel of Fates and the final fight scene, which is fucking amazing. And the fact when they lose their lightsabers, the fighting still continues with Anakin doing a dropkick. That was pretty boss. Though the fight with the Chancellor and Yoda, that could have been skipped. So when I watched that fight on YouTube, I just watched the whole Anakin and Obi-Wan fight. I don't watch the Chancellor shit. And like I said, the whole stuff with General Grievous could have been skipped. And Mace Windu dying, that was pretty fucked up. And the way Count Dooku died, that was pretty fucked up. You can see his head roll, which is pretty fucked up.
That got all the chuckle out of me when I was watching it.
Yeah.
And the Chancellor was extremely lucky because if his plan didn't work out, then he would have been dead, and then none of this shit would have happened. So the way it all worked out for him in the end was pretty subpar. And the fact that the end scene was the construction of the Death Star, I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Which kind of brings into the question, though, if they were already in construction, then how do they make it so fast from Empire to the Jedi?
They don't hire contractors.
No independent contractors from Clerks?
Mm-hmm. My bad points to this film was the whole CGI animals.
The Wookiees?
Not the Wookiees, the fucking thing that Obi-Wan was riding. That was fucking stupid.
Oh, that thing. I was going to say, if you don't like the Wookiees, come on, man.
And
Wookiees.
And Order 66 was pretty. I don't know. I like the fact that clones turned evil, but I would like to have seen something better than just execute Order 66. Like, that was implanted in the brains or some shit. That was weird. And again, the whole Chancellor fight with Yoda, that could have been fucking scrapped. I wasn't a fan.
Galen, what do you think?
I loved how we saw the Senate dismantled and then literally broken apart, during that fight. So, it was figurative and literal. I thought that was cool. And then, that led to Order 66. And I like that whole scene, just how basically a switch is flipped and you see everything just change and just everything starts crumbling down for the Jedi. And, leading up to the big lightsaber battle, which we already discussed between Obi-Wan and Anakin. Overall, I would have to say this one I'd probably give a 7.5. I thought it was a very strong movie. I enjoyed it very much.
Angie?
I am going to give this one an 8. I loved the music, the battles, and yeah, definitely, things like Order 66 and the clones, what they did with them. My least favorite, again, was a lot of the writing, I'm not sure. There's just like little tiny things like every now and then that would pop up that would take me out of the movie.
Like that I'm so in love with you scene?
Yeah, things like that. Just like one-liners.
Before you go to you, Tony, I just have to say one thing that I forgot to mention. I was talking about things that I like, but I didn't mention the one big thing that I dislike, and it takes me out of the movie every time I see it. It's the parallel there with the Frankenstein's monster with Vader on the table. And he goes, "No, you killed her." No.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, come on.
I forgot about that. I didn't.
Do not want.
I also want to bring that up as well. The fact that in episode 4, he finds out that Luke is his son. Like, when you put 2 and 2 together and go, hang on a minute, you told me Padme was dead, and yet here's my son. You know, it's like, dude, if you kill Padme, you wouldn't know about your son. Like, come on.
See, I love the idea that they did the birth scene and the kind of rebirth into Darth Vader thing. That parallel was cool, but that no ruins it. It could have just been an kind of thing where he didn't need to do anything. It could have just... You leave that line out with, "Where's Padme? Is she okay?" He could have just known that she was dead, and it would have been implied.
Kind of like at the end of Return of the Jedi, where they added the no. I think in this instance, in episode 3, silence would have been more powerful.
Yep.
Or the fact that he could have went, "Oh, where's Padme?" And then he went, "Oh, you killed her," and he would have went, "Oh well, never mind."
He was just like, "Oh man,
good riddance."
It's like, I banged her. Who gives a fuck?
He's like, shit. All right, what do you want to do, Palpatine? Take over the world?
Do you want to blow up Alderaan now? Yeah, let's go blow up Alderaan.
He's like, I'll get around to it in a couple of years. I gotta give it around that 7-8 range. I love a lot of parts about this movie. I mentioned before, some of the issues bug me, but I will mention a positive when it comes to dialogue. I think this has one of the best lines out of all 6 Star Wars movies, and it's from Padme, who also has that whole, "No, it's because I'm so in love with you" scene or whatever, but she has a great, great line. And I don't know why Lucas could write a line like this, but that he couldn't write better shit when it comes to, "From my point of view, the Jedi are evil." So this is how Liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Oh,
great line. Like, whoever wrote that line, write the rest of the damn movie.
I know, it just bugs the hell out of me.
But one thing that people got on about the prequels in general was that they were too political, too much stuff with the Senate. But I disagree. I like all that. I think it was necessary, and I think it's interesting too. I'm the kind of person where, like, for example, if we're talking about Star Trek, Deep Space Nine is my favorite, and I think that's overall the most political one. I don't mind the sort of psychological elements behind it. The character development. And I don't get me wrong, I love action too, but I love seeing kind of the slow build also. So I thought the political stuff was fine. I didn't think it was heavy-handed.
We're going to have to see how much political stuff they put in Force Awakens, because you never know. Could have like everything with Leia is in like a Senate scene or something like that. But that'll round us out for the prequels. So for the people that could not get through those or whatever, we understand it, but we got the original trilogy coming up, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. Episode 4 is coming up next. Click on that part on YouTube. Go back and check out the prequels if you didn't check them out anyway, because I'm sure we're going to be referencing some jokes and stuff that, you might not get it a little bit later on or whatever. But nonetheless, A New Hope is coming up next. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. We are on the original trilogy now. A New Hope, Episode 4. It came out in 1977. We're going back in time now, and we're going up as far as the scale goes with the tomato meter. 94% for the critics, 96% for the audience. So this is when we're not getting in that 60-50 sort of range or something like that. We're getting into like the legit good movies, I guess you could say. Most people would say this one and the next one are the two best, and it's kind of hard to argue against it. But this is one of those movies that just forever changed cinema. And we're not going to break down as much of like the specific things, because most people remember a lot of this. So we don't really need to remind you, like, I don't know, that C-3PO exists. Okay, everybody knows 3PO. This is where it all started and stuff. So we're going to kind of just keep this a little bit general and just sort of bounce around what we've thought over the years and how much Star Wars has kind of influenced a lot of things and different stuff like that. But what was the first time you ever saw Star Wars, essentially? And I would assume that it would be this one, but if it's not, then kind of elaborate on that a little bit too. But first impression of Star Wars in general, Angie?
I was probably an infant the first time I was in front of it. My mom is obsessed with Star Wars, and I don't know when they started showing it on TV a lot, but just about every time my mom found it, we were watching it. And I really loved it, but there are a lot of scenes that scared me.
Any in particular? Like the trash compactor scene?
Oh yeah, that one was probably the one that scared me the most. Or like when I was really little, I didn't always understand everything. Like in the hologram with Princess Leia, I didn't really know like why that was happening, or it was the political stuff I didn't understand, but I loved so much of it, and the aliens again, and the droids, the cantina.
Yeah, the cantina is so weird.
Yeah, and
I still don't understand the cantina. What's up with that devil-looking thing?
I like the devil one.
Yeah.
I like the werewolf one, too, that they got rid of.
Oh, the hell with the
so
werewolf.
Sad.
I don't like the ones that look like they went to a costume shop and just, I like the players in the band and stuff. Like, they're kind of cool or whatever. I like the octopus dude that just gets the shitty end of the stick and gets his arm cut off. Poor guy.
Oh,
only time
I
we
love
really
the
see blood.
Spaceships.
Oh, yeah, the ships are good.
Yeah, Millennium Falcon, of course. First time we really see it.
Of course.
Hard to argue against that being one of the best ships out there. It's not my favorite, I'll say that. That's probably Vader's ship from Empire.
TIE Fighter? Or
I do like the TIE Fighter stuff. The TIE Fighters in general are awesome.
Yeah.
TIE Interceptor is the coolest, though. It's got the points to it. That one's badass. But I don't know. See, I don't like that side of Star Wars as much. I like the Jedi. The blaster stuff or whatever, that's why I couldn't get into Star Trek as much. And the new movies I like for the Star Trek ones because they're like a little bit more action-y. I don't see what's so great about, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say like that, it's like bad or anything like that, because it's not, but like, it doesn't captivate me to think that they're on another planet and there's alien life. I'm interested in aliens. I watch Ancient Aliens. I laugh my ass off every time David Childress is on screen or Giorgio Tsoukalos. But just the idea, like, I couldn't get into Star Wars until I started to understand the Jedi stuff more. I would watch originally, A New Hope and whatever, and it was just sort of like spaceships and, pew pew pew, guns and stuff, and I'm like, not my thing. But then when I got into the lightsabers and I got into, Darth Vader and Luke fighting each other in Empire, then it was just kind of like, this is pretty freaking cool. And then, of course, that's one of the reasons why I like the prequels, because that's full-blown Jedi. So that's something I'm worried about with The Force Awakens. I don't want this to be the beginning of A New Hope throughout the whole movie. I think it's a little too slow of a start.
Especially with the long ship, you're underneath the Star Destroyer.
Well, not necessarily the very beginning of that. No, I think that the beginning of this movie it's boring. You got the droids.
Yeah.
What?
I can see why you would think that.
Mm-hmm.
So weird.
Don't agree with it, but I can see why some people would think that.
Beginning's the best part.
I don't mean the
introduced to Darth Vader.
opening scene. I mean the stuff with the droids on Tatooine.
Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah, that shit is way too long.
Yeah, I mean, it takes forever for the movie to start.
Yeah.
Sort of.
That is true.
Oh god, Owen.
But I really like the androids.
Except
But
for
yeah, it does go on for a while.
Why didn't they ever shoot the fucking pod? If they shot the pod, none of this would have happened. Darth Vader would have won.
I know they're like, oh, there's no life signs aboard, but you know what? The plans don't need life, So it obviously, I don't know. Yeah, it would have made sense.
And the other thing is, when it malfunctioned, it was like, oh, there's another pod. It's like, well, what did you do with the first pod? Did you shoot that pod down? Why didn't you shoot this pod down? Do you think they learned from their mistake and shoot all the pods ever since?
Yeah, it would have only taken 2 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, it only took 2 seconds to blow up Alderaan.
Oh, too soon.
Oh.
Caleb, what's your first thing? How did you get into Star Wars? Was it A New Hope?
Well, I was born about 2 weeks before A New Hope came out, so I was a little too young to remember going to see this one in the theater. But I grew up with all the Star Wars stuff. I had tons of books and I had all the original action figures, and so growing up with the books and toys and records and things like that, that's kind of how I got to know it. I think I actually saw Empire Strikes Back before I saw the first New Hope. But going back and seeing it, man, it really, I don't know, it's so iconic. There's just so many parts. It's just part of our culture now. I mean, like you said, we're introduced to all the wonderful ships. We're introduced to Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Episode 4 is just so strong in so many ways. I love everything going on board the Death Star. We have Grand Moff Tarkin's a great character. We have introduction to Han Solo and Chewbacca. Just so much going on in it. It's a great movie. I do like how it opened up with the droids. We have they're aboard the ship and it's being attacked, and we have C-3PO and R2-D2, and they're like our first go-to. That's how we're introduced to the universe. Is they have the first line. C-3PO has the first line of the whole series. So I thought it was a great introduction overall, and the movie, like you said, there's certain parts that are kind of slow, but I can't really fault it for that because every part seemed to serve a purpose. So I'm very, very, very much a fan of this movie. I rate it very highly.
Sean, how did you get into Star Wars?
I got into Star Wars one day when I was ill from school with the chicken pox. Oh. And we had a big library of VHS tapes. At the beginning of the line was the children's films, and towards the end were the adult films. And I was so ill and dying of these chicken pox. My dad was like, you know what, Sean? You can pick any number from 50 to 72 for the VHS collection. And I picked 51, which was Star Wars A New Hope and Star Wars Return of the Jedi and Revenge.
Was 50 Debbie Does Dallas or something?
I think 50 was the Rocky films. And I wanted to watch Star Wars because I was really into space when I was like 6-7 years old. So I was like, oh, I want to watch something in space. And I was never a fan of Star Trek because my dad used to watch the Star Trek shows on a Sunday, and I found Star Trek a bit boring. So we watched Star Wars together, and that was the thing. And then my dad bought me a lightsaber, which was pretty cool until I swung it and I hit my sister in the eye with it. So
what else are you supposed to do?
So that was taken away from me. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a thing. I liked the X-Wing. The X-Wing is today still my favorite ship in sci-fi film, and that was the main reason why I bought Battlefront, was to fly an X-Wing.
So, Star Wars has influenced, so much. It's changed the way that movies work, literally, with CGI. It's changed the contracts. George Lucas was able to make so much money off of being able to take the merchandising rights for things. That's changed merchandising in general to an insane amount. But it's changed storytelling too. I mean, this is the classic hero's journey. You got every element from start to finish. You know, the call to action, refusal of the call. Just it's a writer's dream to break down Star Wars, even though some parts are a little bit, it stretches out and stuff like that or whatever. But structurally, I gotta say, this is the best out of all of the movies. It's the one that, if you watch just this one, it holds up from start to finish with like no real, you hear lines that they don't make much sense, but that's just something to build the lore. Like Obi-Wan's talking to Luke and it's, you fought in the Clone Wars? The hell are the Clone Wars? Oh, it's just something that happened before. Just the same as if somebody in like a, I don't know, World War II movie said, well, my daddy fought in World War One. Well, you don't need to start going, well, what was World War One? You don't need to start doing that. But I gotta say, like, there's more attention to detail and there's more just overall, like, good craft when it comes to A New Hope, more than any of the others, I gotta say.
Well, this one, more than any other, is the best standalone film, as well it should be, because this was the introduction.
Right.
So as far as one compact story from beginning to end and, having a complete story arc, this one definitely stands above the rest as far as being a complete story.
So just toss out some ideas here, some different topics. What are some of the things you guys really like about it? Any, like, favorite things, you really love? Say, Han's like your favorite character, or it's awesome to hear lines now that you go back and it's like he has too much of his father in him. That's what I'm afraid of. And you're like, oh, I get it now. Or like, anything that really like stands out to you guys is something really cool.
I'd say the Death Star, just, it really stands out to me how completely menacing and intimidating and overpowered this thing is, yet they were able to overcome it. I love the Death Star.
It's such a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
A planet that blows up other planets, essentially.
I mean, talk about weapons. I mean, holy crap.
That's why I'm worried that they don't know where else to go. Like, they did the Death Star again, and now in The Force Awakens, we're going to get, like, another Death Star. It's just like, well, kind of, I don't know. Jumped the gun a little bit too quick, maybe.
How do you know it's going to be a Death Star? How do you not know it's going to be a Death Cube? Who's to say it's going to be a shape of a moon?
Death trapezoid.
It could be like a Rubik's Cube, That's one way of stopping it from blowing up, right?
Well, if they start marketing Force Awakens as, like, the attack on the Death Rhombus, then I'm going to be a little bit concerned.
But as for characters go, my favorite character was Luke Skywalker because my surname was Walker, and it made me feel like a boss. And then I was pretending to be related to Luke Skywalker. That was the thing.
Sean Skywalker.
Yeah, that was the thing. Sean Skywalker was amazing, me. I'll have he was using the Force to push over plates when he didn't want to eat his broccoli. It was great.
My favorite characters were Han Solo and Chewbacca. I still like Han Solo tons, but just the pair, that duo, they're like best buddies. They kind of toe the line. They're in it for themselves, basically. They toe the line between, good and evil, just kind of mercenary smugglers. And I just like that almost ambiguity, because he's not so tied into good or evil. So I would say my favorite character overall would probably be Han Solo.
See, I can see why people don't like Chewie. He's a little annoying. I like him, but after a while, it's sort of like, dude, shut up.
I always wondered why that was my mom's favorite character.
Really?
That annoyed the hell out of me. I still don't understand it to this day.
But as far as looking most badass, you got to go with the classic Stormtrooper.
Yeah, it's a shame that they're not actually, like, good shots, because they look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The armor's cool. It doesn't do a damn thing, but it's cool.
Especially when they bump their heads.
Yeah. If you look at the old Ralph McQuarrie, if I'm remembering the name correctly, the artwork that he did before the movie really like had started filming and stuff. Originally, the stormtroopers were going to use lightsabers. That was just going to be like a standard weapon. So it's just kind of cool that like in The Force Awakens, we're getting a stormtrooper that knows how to use a lightsaber. Little twist with that.
I'm glad they didn't.
What's that?
I'm glad they didn't.
Oh yeah, because it makes it so much more cool. Like,
Yeah.
Only the Jedi use this, and thankfully they don't call them laser swords like they were originally going to call them. Lightsaber is such a cooler name.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say though, there's something that bugs me about this movie. After, like, the more time goes by, the more dated it looks.
Well, that's why they keep upgrading it.
Well, if you didn't check out the podcast already, we did a whole discussion about whether or not they should do the special editions and stuff like that. But even just in general, like, some parts of it just don't hold up as much anymore. Like, I look back on A New Hope now, and I can pick out so many more flaws. And there's things that, like, continuity's gotten weird. Like, Obi-Wan says, I don't seem to ever remember owning a droid. And he's true, he never owned R2. It was never his droid. But, like, I don't know. Some of it kind of bugs me.
No,
You
he owned
can't do
R4,
that.
dude. Was it R4 he owned? It was R4, right?
I think it's R4.
Yeah. R4.
I love watching old movies, and you can't pay attention to their age and what they look like in that.
I mean,
In that way.
there comes a certain level of, suspension of disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
So things like, lines like that, I don't really put much stock in, because like you said, he didn't actually own R2.
You're not about disbelief, dude. They're fighting with laser swords.
All right, fair point.
Yeah, but it's like, you look at the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight, and it sucks.
Oh my god,
Oh.
yeah.
That's because they're two old age pensioners. What do you want them to do? Stop flipping?
Yeah, Dooku and Yoda could do it.
Well, that's Yoda, right? And Dooku was just, he was James Bond. But
Obi-Wan is awesome, and Vader's God. Like,
Vader's got robotic knees. He doesn't know how to jump.
I always wondered if it was like that because of what they needed to do with the lightsabers.
mm-hmm. Yeah, because they, like, back then, they didn't know how to rotoscope and stuff like that, so it's like, you just hold this and don't move all that much.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm surprised.
Exactly. I thought that's why it was like that.
I'm surprised that's something that hasn't been updated. Oh, well, the lightsaber battles in the original are not as intense as the new ones were doing. So let's go back and let's, have all computer generated characters and do new lightsaber battles and completely replace those scenes.
If they could figure out a way to do that and make it look good, I'd be all for it.
But none of the CGI stuff looks good.
No, they can't just do like a Michael Douglas Tron kind of thing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Get Ewan McGregor. He could be Obi-Wan again. Come on. Refilm that. Make him actually fight. It'd be so much cooler.
You know what was really disappointing? Is the amount of airtime Darth Vader actually got. He was only in the film for 12 minutes total.
Yeah.
Makes
But
him
made
seem more
such an
menacing, though.
impact, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think that's why I prefer Empire.
See, I'm disappointed more in the amount of time that Jawas got. They should have been more on this film. Jawas are awesome. Hell with these droids. Give me Jawas as our little go-to people. Give me a Jedi Jawa.
The Jedi Jawa.
And you have a go at Ewoks?
Jawas are so much cooler than Ewoks. Jawas have clothes on. They have little hoods. They're like little Jedi already.
Ewoks wear some articles of clothing.
I don't see a Jawa ever hit himself in the head. There you go. Plus they say Utini. They're cute little guys. I'll point out one of my favorite lines of this whole film. That's the little part there with Han Solo and the intercom. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That part's awesome.
That was improv, right?
I think so.
He
I think I
is my
read about
favorite
it.
It
character.
was a boring conversation anyway.
My favorite scene, though, in the entire film was where Luke is stood looking at the two moons. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very powerful scene. The music is so good. I mean, this
Luke's theme
introduced
is amazing.
this introduced the music. The throne room music is so good, and It's weird, though, to go back now and realize that there's no Imperial March. You just kind of take it for granted that it's in there. But
I guess I never realized that until just now.
Yeah,
really? That wasn't introduced until episode 5?
Yeah. Empire is the
Wow.
first one that it's in.
I didn't even realize.
Wait, I
Shit.
thought they edited it in.
Oh, they might have. I might have lost track
I think they've edited it in.
Hmm.
Maybe when he first walks onto the bridge. I could be wrong.
I don't know, because I know they do the da-ba-ba-ba-ba kind of thing like that. They might have thrown a little bit in there, though. They should. Good song.
They should do. It's a good song, yeah.
But, I mean, we can go and we can break down little bits here and there and stuff like that, but we'll maybe save that for another time. So we're going to wrap this up here and just talk about some extra stuff that we need to throw out and our 0 to 10. Angie, what do you think?
I want to give it a 10. I'm going to give it a 9. This movie changed theatrical history, and just it was so amazing what it did and what it created.
No arguments from my side. I'm actually going to give it a 9 too. I think I can't quite give it a 10, but 9 is it's admirable. At the very least, I can say.
Exactly.
Sean, what do you think?
I give her an 8. I'll give her an 8 because it's not perfect, but there's some good parts. Like, who would ever forget the scene when Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke Skywalker to turn off his computer and told him to use the midichlorians? Good times.
Use the mitochondria in your blood. I mean, the Force.
So you also gave episode 3 an 8, Sean. You would say that episode 3 and 4 are about the same?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
For different reasons.
For different reasons, yeah.
Yeah, the action in Revenge of the Sith versus the good storytelling.
The entire acting. To be fair, though, Mark Hamill on his acting debut was fucking on point. More so than Asian Christians.
Galen, what's your thoughts?
Man, this changed everything. You know, I can't go on enough about how this is so important in the history of film. And as far as personally, I love this movie. You know, it's not my favorite Star Wars. We're going to be getting to that one next. But I would say this is probably my second favorite Star Wars film. And I overall also give this one a 9. I can't give it a 10. I don't think I can give it a 9.5. It's not perfect, but it is very, very strong. So I say 9.
Good scores all around. I'm pretty sure that everybody's going to agree with that, but if you don't, then leave your comments below and tell us why this isn't so fantastic. And we're going to continue on with episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. See you in part 5. Welcome back, everybody. Part 5, episode 5. Yeah, works out that way. The Empire Strikes Back. What many would consider to be the best out of all the Star Wars movies. And again, hard to argue against it. One of the best films of all time. One of the few examples of a sequel that can actually match or surpass its previous film. Godfather Part 2, Terminator 2, Dark Knight, Empire. They're kind of the 4 go-to ones for the most part. And Empire, of course, made tons and tons of influences on the cinema in general and all that kind of stuff. We're going to break a lot of different things down, but again, starting this off, first impressions, first time you ever saw Empire. What do you think, Sean?
Again, this is when I had chickenpox, and I really enjoyed Empire because Empire is the best one because the villains actually win. And also, this is George Lucas. George Lucas has said this is the worst Star Wars film of all time.
He said that?
Yep.
Well, he doesn't know how to make a good Star Wars movie.
Apparently.
Well, this is when he decided to kind of step back a little bit. We had Lawrence Kasdan, and we had the name's escaping me. Who was the director? Crap. Gonna have to look that up in the meantime. But we had somebody else kind of take the reins a little bit, and I think that's one of the reasons why this is actually so much better is because we don't have Irvin Kershner. There he is. Mm-hmm. we don't have some of those problems that George Lucas got into. I mean, the dialogue alone, we were bitching about the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Dialogue in this one, on point. Some of that's actually kind of improvised. Great line in the whole thing, one of the most famous lines of the whole thing. I love you. I know. Han is awesome.
Such a much better relationship.
Much better than Padme and Anakin.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Yeah. No lines about sand.
It was more believable.
No creepy stares. Although he does kind of force himself on her a little bit, which is a little like, huh.
Well, to be fair, she did kiss her own brother, right?
Yeah.
She kind of snogged him in this one, right? There's no going back after that snog. All right.
Let's address that point. Clearly, this proves right here, more than anything, that Lucas did not plan everything ahead of time. If he did, it's creepy. Like, incest? Really?
I think George Lucas is just a creepy dude in general. You know, we saw what he thought was romance in episode 2.
He's like, no, you're not staring at her enough.
Yeah. You need to undress her with your eyes. Don't ever blink.
He's like, no, Hayden, I'm not just buying it. Like, you need to look at her like you love her, like she's your sister or something. That's got to be the worst thing that doesn't hold up over time. That kiss. And Luke's all proud about it afterwards. He's kind of like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So weird. It's creepy.
And the thing is, Luke apparently knew all along. He felt it all along.
Leia says she knew all along. So it's like...
So, basically, right, you knew as soon as you kissed him. It's like, you know when girls give you the speech, I like you, but I only like you as a brother. That's where this line spawned from, alright?
Leia's just like, it's alright, Han. I like Luke as a brother. I mean, I'll fuck him and everything, but still... Again, deleted scene. You love him, don't you? Damn right I do. What are you guys up to in the past year? You don't want to know.
Episode 8, The Friend Zone.
Oh god, if that's the relationship between Rey and Kylo Ren. They're like, well, we love the idea of star-crossed lovers fighting each other. We also love the sister and brother angle. I don't know, kind of combine them. Kaylin, when you first saw Empire Strikes Back, what was your impression?
Man, this was the first movie I ever remember watching in the theater. I was like 3 years old, and it made a huge impression on me. I loved it. I was just blown away, just visually, everything. It changed my viewpoint of movies. And then, of course, it got the toys and, all the books and magazines and, all the, records and tapes and everything. And this was the one that made me fall in love with Star Wars. Still to this day, I share the majority opinion that this is the strongest Star Wars movie they've ever made. And
so you disagree with George Lucas?
I do disagree with George Lucas.
Oh.
Yes. I think this is definitely the strongest. And I like the fact that it ends on a downer.
Mm-hmm. Different, too. No movies ever really did that before. It's like, they lost?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, Han Solo is, frozen and taken away, and they're kind of, without that. So, yeah, they're kind of screwed at the end.
Well, we know two people that are screwed. Angie, when's the first time you ever saw Empire?
Oh, again, I have no idea. As soon as my mom found it and sat me down and made me watch it, I loved just the different locations and the walkers on the ice planet. Oh, I love those so much. And then the whole scene with Han Solo and the carbon freezing. That really affected me. It's just like, oh my God, this is so cool. How did they do that? And then the whole sky around Cloud City. I thought it was gorgeous. And
nice location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cloud City, I don't know. I mean, I have my issues with Cloud City a little bit. I think that the name Bespin's better than just Cloud City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, well, why isn't Tatooine just like Desert City? Like,
Sand City.
good old sand planet. But I do like that change in the environment a little bit like that. I think that that's cool. And Hoth, Angie just brought up, the elephants on the ice kind of a thing. Awesome opening, though. Like, it makes sense that they would go to a planet like that where it's hard to find them. And why would the Empire want to go to that planet? It's a bitch to live there. And you got the abominable snowman fighting people and stuff. Good old Wampas.
Yeah, Hoth was great. I love the AT-ATs, that whole scene with the, snow speeders and the AT-ATs. AT-AT was one of those toys that I always wanted as a kid, but I can never get because it was too expensive. But I did have my favorite ship, which was in this one, and I think probably my favorite ship in all of the Star Wars universe, and that would be the Snow Speeder. I love the Snow Speeder.
Really? That's your favorite?
With the tow cable? Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Is it because of the Hoth scene, or is it just the look of it?
It's mostly the look of it. I like the tow cable part of it. I like, just the whole design of it. I think it's great.
I bet it was fun to play with, too.
Oh, plus it was fun to play with, yeah.
Does it come with a tow cable?
Yes, it does.
Nice.
I can tell you now, on Battlefront, the speeder name is ironic because they're not very fucking fast. Every time I get my ass blown up by a TIE fighter.
Well, it's better to have, like, a snow speeder than a snow slower. The marketing for that, people, it would be terrible if they called them slowers.
The Snow Slug.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was in Attack of the Clones. They were little snow slugs.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a real strong introduction here. It's not an intro if you watch episodes 1 to 3, but episode 5 brings up the idea you're going to go to Dagobah and you're going to train with Yoda. Who's Yoda? It's Kermit the Frog. What?
With the voice of Grover.
Now, I was not even born when Empire first came out, but when I first got into Star Wars, the idea of Yoda to me was ridiculous. It was just kind of like, that little thing's supposed to be this great Jedi and whatever. I grew to love Yoda because Yoda's the shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't imagine at the time seeing that and thinking that that's a Jedi. Like, that must have been so jarring of like, what the hell is happening to this movie? That thing is a Jedi?
No, I love the fact that he looked, he was so small and weak, and that he was this powerful being that you couldn't.
So unsuspecting.
Yeah.
Like, Yoda, they did a great job pulling it off. Like, Yoda's this little thing, and it's like, it's going to lead you to this powerful Jedi, and the twist of like, well, that's the Jedi. Okay, well, you underestimate the size of your muscles aren't really the way that you're supposed to be. Like, that's not power, and I'm little, but I can lift up the X-Wing, and you can't do shit. Like, Yoda's awesome. He's weird, though. Like, I don't see as much of a connection between Yoda in this and the prequels. He's like a nut job,
Yeah.
Is it just because he spent 20 years on this desolate planet?
Maybe.
I think so. Dementia comes with old age. But yeah, I think the fact that he was isolated for so long, it's interesting because, like you said, when he first meets him, he has no idea that that's even Yoda. He's like, oh, I'm looking for a great Jedi Master. He goes, oh, you seek Yoda. He's like, oh, what do you know about Yoda? And then he kind of finds how wise he truly is. So it changes his opinion and opens his eyes in that regard. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, another thing I always thought of was everything that had gone on in the Force, how the Force got so weak, and just everything that happened in those years that he was isolated.
Thankfully, with Yoda, they toned him down a lot. Because if he stayed as he was, I think we would have had another Jar Jar Binks on our hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, he wouldn't have been believable as a Jedi, too.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have just been like, mine, the whole time, and then it would have been like, God damn, why didn't anybody kill this fucker back in the day? But I'm curious about one thing. I don't know if they've ever explained this in anything. If they have, leave it in the comments below. Please tell me. What's going on with that whole thing in Dagobah that he's got like the vision of Darth Vader and whatever. Like he says that's strong on the dark side. How? And why, if it's strong on the dark side, why the fuck would you go to Dagobah?
Because it's a great hiding place.
See, I was always, before episode 3 came out, I was dead set on the idea that there was going to be some kind of a fight there or something. Like, maybe that would be the place that they killed Count Dooku, and, like, his spirit was sort of, like resonated through there, and, you know, maybe that would be a reason why they would go there or something like that, but as far as I know, they've never given really an explanation, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Really curious.
It is a bit confusing.
I mean, I just always thought the reason why he went there was because he would, you know, not likely to be found. There's lots of life there,
right?
But there's no technology, so he would kind of blend in.
It would just be like this trash kind of planet, you know, no
one
civilization.
would pay attention to it,
right? The dark side thing, though, that always confused me.
Yeah, I don't know,
because it's like, well, does he manifest that? Does Yoda know how to like manipulate the dark side now or something? Like, really weird.
Perhaps that's where they land to take a poop. Like that poop's got to go somewhere, right? So Dagobah is just the place where they dump all the poop.
Oh, so that kind of dark side.
Oh.
It would explain the swampy, muddy water, right?
What kind of soup
and all
are they
that
eating
bacteria.
then? Terrible. We have a reintroduction to Boba Fett if you watched episodes 1 to 3. And he's a little bit different this time around. Full-on Mandalorian armor. He hasn't learned all that much from his dad, it seems, but he's responsible for taking Han Solo away. Kind of cool. He's following in his father's footsteps a little bit. Boba Fett, though, first time people are watching him in Empire, because they didn't add him in A New Hope yet, becomes a massive character, and it's just because of the way that he looks.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, yeah. Total badass costume.
Yeah.
And I think that something that's kind of cool, I mean, I mentioned before, when you watch A New Hope and it doesn't make sense as much because of certain things that are from the prequels and stuff, I didn't realize this until they did it in episode 2, but how similar Boba Fett's mask looks to the Stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious if maybe they did have that a little bit planned.
I don't know.
Because
I thought that was intentional, yeah.
He's got that black, like, centerpiece kind of thing. It
And
could just be
like it's made out of the same material.
Yeah.
Do you think his son scooped out
the head
and then wore that helmet?
No,
it's a different color.
He's just like, well, you could spray paint it, right?
No, you see a little shadow of the head fly out. Which is
I thought he picks it up and looks inside and sees his dad's head.
No, when they show the shot of the shadow of the head flying off, you can, like, for a split second see, like, something pop out of it. So it's like the head flies off, and then the head just flies out of that. So you gotta imagine Boba Fett is like, you know, my dad's dead. Oh my god, he doesn't have a head anymore. And where's the head? Some people are kicking it like a soccer ball. You know? Poor Boba.
Yeah.
We got an introduction to a brand new character, though, this time around. Smooth motherfucker, Lando. First black guy.
Oh, yeah.
And for a while, the only black guy.
Yeah.
So, funny enough, this is something I didn't know until something the other day when I was checking it out. The original idea for Lando was going to be that he was a clone.
Really?
I didn't hear that.
I didn't either.
I did not know this until a couple days ago.
I thought he was a clone.
No, the original idea was going to be that Lando, like everybody on Cloud City, they were all like Lando was kind of the template clone. I don't know if he was supposed to be part of the Clone Wars or if like maybe they were like carryover people from that or whatever like that, but he would have been like one of the clone kind of things.
I'm so glad they didn't do that.
Because they kept the line in with Han Solo saying something like, you old dog, and then he was like, yeah, I haven't aged a day or some shit like that, right?
I think he says that they haven't aged.
Mm-hmm.
Not Lando. Although Lando doesn't really age that much. If you see Billy D now, he looks pretty damn good for his age.
Billy D. Williams is the only original cast member that I've actually gotten to meet in person.
Yeah.
Is he as cool as he seems like he would be?
Oh, smooth as hell. Works every time.
Gives you a handshake and your knees go weak.
Yep.
Somehow you're drunk. What was the alcohol that he always advertised?
Colt 45.
Colt 45, that's what it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Works every time.
Lando's awesome.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm so glad they didn't go the clone route, because that would have been racist as fuck. Been like, really? Clones are the black people? People that haven't followed Clerks, by the way, if you get into Clerks and whatever, and you never saw the animated series, it only ran for 6 episodes, and it's brilliant. It's
It's great.
hilarious.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
fantastic.
Especially episode 2, where they do a lot of jokes of like Star Wars stuff. Oh, it's cold in here. It's Hoth cold. We already made that Star Wars reference. But I love when they introduce the idea. They do the little mailbag thing, and they're reading off, and it's like, why are there no women on your show? Are you afraid of women? Yes. Okay, next question. Why are there no black people on your show? Oh, this really bugs us. So we're going to introduce a brand new character, Lando.
Yeah.
And he just pops up real quick. Hey, Randall. Hey, Lando. It's fantastic. God damn, I love that. We got a real amped up version of a lightsaber fight this time around. It's actually good, instead of the Obi-Wan one. And that leads into the moment of the movie. The number one best thing out of pretty much everything, I would say, for Empire, and that's the twist. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father, and they kept that secret. They had the line originally is in the script itself, it says Obi-Wan killed your father. And then you get the real line, I am your father, and it's just I get goosebumps every time I see that. It's so good.
It was absolutely amazing. The feeling behind it and just what it did to you. The storyline.
And fair play to Mark Hamill. He did inhabit his inner Adrian Christensen. when he said, Obi-Wan told me you killed him. It was pretty good. I like the comparison between the two.
I thought you were talking about the inner Hayden Christensen with a no.
No.
But let's talk a little bit about the twist in general. I mean, they kept that a secret, and the audiences must have gone nuts.
Yeah, I don't remember, since I was really young, and I saw this in the theater, I didn't remember that being like a huge thing to me, because it was just like, oh, he's his father, okay. But, now in retrospect, that's a huge plot point. Something like that they would never be able to do today, and that's one of the reasons I'm actually going to kind of very minimally be on the internet in the next week, because the next episode 7, is just about to be released. And so to avoid potential spoilers like that, I'm going to, keep my internet to a minimum, because there's no way you could keep a secret like that these days, a secret that huge, or even something like, The Sixth Sense. They would never be able to have basically anything with a twist anymore, because the internet ruins everything and spoils it.
Spoiler alert, Bruce Willis is dead all along.
He's
I'm
been
so
dead the
glad
whole
I
time
didn't
in
know
Force
about
Awakens?
that.
Fuck.
Plus, he's actually Kaiser Soze? What?
Somebody's gonna be a Homer Simpson, right? Coming out of that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or the person going by the line outside the bookstore with the megaphone, Snape kills Dumbledore.
Oh, I laughed so hard at that video.
OMG, Kylo Ren is actually Luke's
Jar Jar.
son.
See, the little thing that they referenced on The Simpsons, that idea that Homer would go out and just go, oh man, what an ending. I can't believe that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. And everybody's just like, oh, fuck, or whatever. That scene inspired me to do the same thing for like every movie now.
Yes.
Although I just make the same jokes every time.
With fake ones, yes.
Yeah, every single movie is they all die at the end. It all turns out to be a dream. Like, it's just no matter what. I'll go into like I don't know, The Good Dinosaur and be like, oh, did you guys hear that at the end of The Good Dinosaur? It's all a dream and they all die. Like, just, same thing every single time or whatever.
I did it with the current Avengers film. I actually did it. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they killed Quicksilver off.
No, you actually told them the real
I actually did that, yeah.
Oh, shame on you.
People wasn't best pleased. People were not best pleased.
It is kind of funny, though, that, like, people sort of, if they get to know that you do these jokes, if you throw the real one out there every once in a while, you get them still. Like, I don't know, like, if you were watching that, and you make enough jokes of they all die at the end or whatever, then you eventually see a movie where they all die at the end, and you're like, oh, you know, they all die at the end. And they're like, oh, you know, I know that Tony makes this joke all the time. What the fuck, they all die at the end?
But at least they didn't truly believe it.
You son of a bitch.
So I'm going to throw out a couple of those things when it comes to standing in line in The Force Awakens. You know, I'll tell the audience, I'll be just, you know, they're all standing around. So you hear that this happens in the movie? Be like, did you guys hear about that scene where Jar Jar is still in the Senate?
Just like whisper it to whoever you're with. Just a little too loud.
Just loud enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Be like,
OMG, this new Star Wars film is part of Interception.
What's Interception?
Inception?
Yeah.
Same shit, innit?
Well, then that's when people overhear and they go, what's Interception? And you go, oh, you didn't hear about the sequel to Inception?
Turns out it was a dream within a dream within a dream.
Well, see, my go-to other joke I can't make in this one, which is anytime that there's a number, you got to deal with the whole thing, like District 9. Oh, man, I didn't see the first District 8, or the Fantastic Four. I didn't see the first 3. I can't do that with Episode 7.
7? Yeah.
I didn't see the first 6. Oh, well, you should have. Like, you know.
Well, I'm sure this is going to be some people's first Star Wars movie ever.
Yeah. Which is going to be weird and wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, it might be a good standalone movie.
That's true. Still, I would have, like, if I had a kid, I would just force him to watch 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then go to the 7.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
That's the best way. Having marathoned 1 to 6, the best way is 4, 5, 6.
I think this is going to be my nephew's 3 years old, and this is going to be his first movie in the theater.
Nice.
So, but he loves the other 6 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Well, he every time he comes over, he's like, pulls my Star Wars DVDs off the shelf, and he's like, which one should we watch now?
Oh, God, he did that. He was like only 2.
Every single time he comes over, he's like, Star Wars.
And
like,
we put it on.
Oh, yeah, we've watched Star Wars with him several times.
Which one does he go for the most?
He likes them all about the same.
Yeah. If he sees it, he'll grab it.
I'd say Episode 4, A New Hope, though, is the one that he goes to most.
Smart kid.
Yeah, my mom forced me to watch these, before I even
Forced?
remember.
But
And Star Trek, and just, she loves space in general and like sci-fi.
So this is off topic, but did you ever have to get when you were a kid? Did you ever get forced to watch 2001?
I think I watched that on my own.
never seen it.
Hard as hell to get through, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend to everybody out there. If it takes you 2 times to watch it, I understand. But it's by the end of watching that movie, you're as blown away as you are with the Darth Vader twist on this one. It's just, oh man, it's so good. But can't talk about that forever. We're gonna wrap this up. Empire Strikes Back, 0 to 10 scale. Anything else you want to throw out there, Sean?
He has disappeared.
I was muted. My bad.
You still just, it's his father?
Oh man, I'm so shocked. From 1 to 10, I'd give this the perfect score.
Perfect 10.
Perfect 10.
Ty
Dillinger 10.
Ty Dillinger.
Oh, fuck.
People that aren't into wrestling right now are like, the fuck is Ty Dillinger?
Yeah.
Is that a new Jedi?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Jedi Master Ty Dillinger. Sounds like one.
It sounds like one, yeah.
Better name than Poe Dameron.
The reason I gave it a perfect 10 is, number 1, the villains win. Number 2, the spaceships are pretty badass. 3, Hoth. I love the planet Hoth. It's different. 4, the whole carbonite scene. That's pretty cool. And 5, the twist. And it's the first time I ever seen somebody's hand getting chopped off, which was pretty cool.
Hand.
And ever since then, I always wanted a robotic hand. But since I've grew up and I know all about these robotic hands and shit, I'd rather not. I'd rather keep my own.
Yeah.
Kaylin, what are your thoughts, 0 to 10?
This is my favorite movie of all time. So I'm giving this, for all the same reasons that Sean said and everything that we discussed so far, this gets my perfect 10. There's not really much I could say to improve this one.
Angie, round us out.
I agree with everybody, and for myself is a perfect 10, but in general, I'm going to have to give it a 9.5 because you need to see the other movie.
That's a good point. You beat me to it because I was going to give it the same thing. This is about like a 9 or so too, on the same. It's on par with A New Hope, and it makes it so much better.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually forgot to mention the tomato meter. It's just a tiny bit above A New Hope. They both have a 94 for the critics. A New Hope has a 96 for the audience, and Empire has a 97.
Ooh.
Just 1% higher for one half of the score.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I put them almost on the same page. You know, like I said, episode 4 definitely is the best standalone film. But if you're looking at the overall arc of all 6 of them, this one, I believe, is the strongest. But within context of the other ones.
Right, yeah. Because without the other ones to bookend it and stuff, it just, not as much.
Yeah.
Still a great movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we have one more left to do. That is Return of the Jedi, Episode 6, Part 6, coming up next. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to the final part of this. It's Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Originally called Revenge of the Jedi, before Lucas realized that it's a little bit too mean. You know, George Lucas, he knows what to do. He knows that Empire sucks, right? Yeah, right. But Return of the Jedi came out in 1983. It is a 79 and a 95 on the tomato meter, so dip down for the critic scale, but staying pretty much the same when it comes to the audience score. I'm surprised about that, 'cause overall impressions, I don't think Return of the Jedi measures up. I think there's a lot of falls here, and I gotta talk about those in a few minutes or so, but Return of the Jedi...
You're just holding a grudge against the Ewoks.
A little bit. There's 2 main problems with this. Ewoks are one of them. The other one's the beginning of the movie. It's the beginning and the end. Everything in the middle was awesome. But Kaylin, what do you think about Return of the Jedi? You were older now when you're watching this. I assume you saw it in theaters, so you're right around the prime age for the Ewoks and everything.
Oh yeah, I was 6 years old when this one came out, and like I said, after going to see Empire Strikes Back in the theater, when you're a kid, years go by much slower, so it seemed like forever between them. And this was so highly anticipated, you know, not just by me, but by everybody. And so when I finally got to go and see, you know, we got to see what Jabba the Hutt looked like. You know, we got to see what happened, you know, because the Death Star, you know, what was going on with that. And, you know, the Ewoks were kind of cool. But overall, it was just because we knew that this was going to be the end. You know, this was it. This was the final. So what's going to happen is just not knowing. And it was just so highly anticipated, and I was more excited ahead of time about this than any of them, even episode 1. I don't know if it necessarily lived up to it, but I was very, very much anticipating it.
Angie, did you see this one in theaters?
No, again, the same as the others. My mom made me watch it, and I have no idea how old I really was.
Math will tell you.
You were 1.5 when it came out.
You still could have seen it.
Yeah. I have no idea.
What was your first impression of Return of the Jedi?
There were parts that I really liked, like Leia's slave outfit.
Who dislikes that?
I know, right?
I loved Jabba the Hutt. Like, just what he looks like and like how he died. But this was definitely my least favorite one.
John, what about you? First impressions of Return of the Jedi, were you still in chickenpox mode?
I was still in chickenpox mode. I did all 3 in one day. Covered in oatmeal. Trying to stop from scratching. Another mitts. And yeah, I didn't enjoy this one as much. I think it's because of my attention span.
Well, after watching the two other ones, I could see that.
But out of the three, I would say this is the weakest. I thought the beginning, like you said, was a bit off. And I don't know, I just overall don't generally enjoy this one.
Still to this
like,
day?
I enjoy it more than the prequels, like, don't get me wrong, but out of the three, if I don't have to watch one of them, it'd be this one.
I can see what you mean. Because I gotta say, this is a downside, kind of. Return of the Jedi doesn't work as well. And again, I said before, I'll bring it up in more detail here. There's two parts to this movie that I don't like. Beginning and the end. Well, not so much the end, or the Ewoks at the end. That's it. But the beginning of this movie, similar to New Hope, it just goes on way too long. It's like they spent too much time on Tatooine in these films. The Jabba the Hutt stuff, that's a good, like, third of the film. And it's just to get Han back. Like, that could have been 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
It's weird, too. Like, now that we watch the special editions, we gotta sit through that Max Rebo crap.
Oh, I pretend that doesn't exist.
Even before that?
When I watch it now, I do have to skip past the musical number.
I don't blame you, because it's terrible. It's one of the worst things out of all 6 films combined. Like, I would rather watch a Jar Jar scene than that.
Yep.
Damn it, Lucas. But even before they introduced that, it still was just too much. The idea that they're, like, torturing the droids, and it does that, like, it screams in pain when it's got the branding iron on it or whatever. And Boba Fett's death is, like, so lame.
Yeah, I really didn't like that part.
Well, his quote-unquote death, you know, I don't believe that actually killed him.
Better not. He better be better than It is kind of weird,
Fett.
though. Somebody on Reddit mentioned it, and sorry I can't credit you because I didn't write down your name, but it's kind of cool, though, if you look at it, that in Attack of the Clones, Jango Fett's jetpack doesn't fire when he expects it to. And in Return of the Jedi, Boba Fett's fires when he doesn't expect it to. So they both are screwed over by their jetpacks in the opposite way.
And to be fair, right, he is still alive. They do say that you're going to be digested over 1,000 years. So technically, he's still alive inside.
Yeah, I think he's got the skills and technical abilities to get out of there alive.
Yeah.
In fact, I would not be surprised to see him in Episode 7.
Oh, I wouldn't be either.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to be or not. I haven't read those spoilers, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, damn it, that's Rey's real name. She's Boba Fett.
Ray Fett.
Ray Fett, yeah.
It just feels like filler to me, though. That whole intro thing. You need to get Han back, of course, because he's back into the film. They never killed him off like the original intention was going to be. But it takes way too long. And it's kind of like the movie we need to go capture Han, confirm that Vader's the dad, and then we go right into the final part. It's sort of, I don't know, it falls victim to the same thing that a lot of the third film in the trilogy does, where it's all action. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of cool. I mean, action's fun, but there's not as much story.
I'll agree.
Anybody want to argue against that point?
No, I totally agree. I think that's right. I mean, it's basically, we get them rescuing Han at Jabba's palace, and I liked a lot of the stuff with Jabba's palace, but then like most of the movie after that is just Endor.
Fucking Endor, man.
Agreed. Fucking Endor.
Fucking Endor.
Yeah.
Christ.
I'm going to correct you here. The forest moon of Endor.
Who gives a fuck? Alright.
It's showing my nerd
I like
credit
the
here.
action on it, and because of my age and as a cute little girl, I liked the Ewoks.
How modest to say that you're a cute little girl at that age. So I was this darling, perfect little kid.
I was.
Well, that brings us into the Ewoks thing. I've been shitting on them every now and then, and I'm going to continue to shit on them. Little bears. Really?
Exactly.
It's all
That
marketing.
is exactly what they were. Yeah.
Those stormtroopers should have mowed those little fuckers down.
Yeah, that was kind of ridiculous how they were able to stand and fight the fucking Empire.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of ridiculous.
He even specifically says, too, an entire legion of my finest troopers, or whatever the exact quote is. The best stormtroopers are being bested by little bears with sticks.
And
I
rocks.
definitely think that's the beginning of the marketing.
Mm-hmm. Originally, he wanted to have the Wookiees, which would have been cool.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That I could have bought, because those are badass. You know, they rip the arms out of sockets. They have crossbows that shoot laser beams somehow. And it's just like little tiny bears. I don't know. I can't
Judge them by their size, do you?
Damn right I do. Judge them by their inability to swing something around without hitting themselves in the freaking head.
Okay, yeah, that is kind of ridiculous.
And the fact that they worship C-3PO as well.
I know, the most annoying character out of the bunch is the one that's the god to them.
But he was shiny.
Well, so was R2.
So is Luke's
But not
lightsaber,
gold.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yub-nub. Fucking yub-nub.
Victory
Thank God they wrote
celebration
that
all the way.
song out. Yeah, thank God they wrote that song out.
Yeah, Kaylin.
Victory celebration probably works better and is more appropriate, but Yub Nub is classic. Come on.
Yeah.
Yub-nub
Nah,
is
screw
awful.
Yub Nub. Yub Nub's on there with Jar Jar.
Yeah, I agree with Tony on that.
There's the age discrepancy of whether or not you love Yub Nub or not.
Nah. I prefer Yub Nub.
So from one thing that I don't, people are 50-50 on Ewoks, but I think everybody's 100% on this other character, Akbar.
Oh, yeah.
It's a trap.
What a great line.
Technically, Leia said it first.
Yeah, she did.
Mhm.
An Empire.
But that's not who she was.
She wasn't an admiral then.
That's true.
Admiral Akbar's coming back in Force Awakens. I hope he says it's a trap.
Oh, I mean,
No.
They better not do that.
They better not.
Oh, I want him to say it's a
Someone
trap and
around
then die.
him should say it, but not him.
Somebody around him says it's a trap and he goes, hey.
Yeah, he should
my
be
line.
in
Damn
the
it, that's my
scene
line.
when it's
What's,
said or something similar. But if he says it, that'll ruin it.
What's Lando's monkey Down syndrome partner called?
Lobot?
Is it Lobot?
Is it Lobot or is it...
Neon Numb? That guy? Which one are you talking about?
The guy in the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, that guy.
Neon Numb, I think.
The one
I
that's
do
like...
not remember.
Yeah, he's great.
Nunba.
He
There we go.
reminds me of a Down syndrome monkey. It's great.
Down syndrome monkey.
That's a lot more offensive than what I always used to think he looked like, which was a stack of
Yeah.
pancakes.
Here we go. I just shared the link. That's who you're talking about, right?
Niem Numb.
Yeah.
I like how he thinks things are funny, though. People are dying around him, and he's like...
He's just laughing. Yeah, he's great.
What a fucking weirdo. No, I thought you were talking about Lobot from Empire. Which I get him and Lot Dodd confused a
Ah,
lot.
yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, the one that Caitlin said. Yeah, yeah, Down syndrome monkey.
With pancakes for a helmet.
Oh.
How
You
weird
guys
is it, though,
are-
seeing that guy and Lando piloting the Millennium Falcon instead of Chewie and Han?
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Now, originally, they were going to die. There was a whole bunch of people that were going to die. Lando was going to die, and Han was going to die at one point. Obviously, they went with not killing them off, but would it have made sense to kill them?
I don't think they wanted to do that to the audience, but storyline wise, I think so, in a way.
See, I think Han dying would have been too much, but Lando, I could have bought into it.
Yeah.
Mhm. But then
Or-
you wouldn't have had him clapping at the end during Yub Nub.
Or maybe Wedge, if Wedge would have died. Since Wedge was able to, survive 1 and 2, technically, I guess.
technically, a lot of those little alien people that we never saw who collected the data died.
Yeah, many Bothans died.
Yeah, mini boffins. What the fuck are mini boffins?
Not mini Bothans, many Bothans.
Mini
We already had
Muffins?
mini bears. We don't need mini Bothans. They look like wolves, I think, if I remember correctly, Bothans.
Yep.
Like wolf people or something. Maybe is that the wolf guy in the cantina? Is that a Bothan? Maybe.
I don't believe so.
I need to see a close-up picture.
Let's see what Wikipedia says.
I love that. That's Wikipedia.
Yeah, I know. No, I don't believe so.
No, they don't have a real picture of him.
Mon Mothma, they finally introduced a second woman into the mix, which was good.
Yeah.
Finally.
Realized one of your big flaws.
But yet, still only one black guy.
Oh, now I know why they didn't kill him. It wasn't a horror story. You can't kill off the only black guy.
Yeah, that's true. Watch out, Finn. Lando's son. Or Mace Windu's son, if you're according to Samuel L. Jackson. Sam Jackson's awesome. We had Death Star number 2. And I mentioned this before. A little bit underwhelming that it's just another Death Star. And this one's more powerful. Oh yeah? Well, I don't see you blowing up any planets.
I think they should have changed the looking of it just a little bit.
I mean, it did look
more.
different, but I think it should have had some kind of upgraded capabilities.
Yeah.
It looked half built.
You should have been able to see it.
Right, but that thing was operational. It wasn't half built.
It's also not a moon. It's a space station. I don't know. I mean, I think that they could have done something a little bit different. Maybe instead of having the Death Star that they needed to explode, maybe they just were going to do like a campaign on the headquarters or something. Like that would have been kind of cool to see Coruscant. Well, Coruscant didn't technically exist.
Right.
But, like maybe they do like an attack on Imperial HQ. I don't know. I do like the lightsaber duel at the end, though. That's one of the best parts. And I don't like it as much as the one from Empire if I'm going original trilogy, but there's some good parts to it. When Luke flips out, the music in that's awesome, and Vader toying around, maybe sister is going to turn into the Jedi, the Sith that we want, that kind of thing. Nice little manipulation on that.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. Even more so than the lightsaber duel, though, probably one of my favorite parts of this whole film is that a couple of scenes before that when he says, you made a new lightsaber, and he says, I still feel the good in you, and it's too late for me, that kind of thing. I love that. Just the idea that he's even turning around that point, and you can tell that Vader's still good.
Yeah. I really liked how important the story was and what happened in the end.
The turn to the light side.
Yeah, the turn in which you found out, and just what happened with it.
So does the prophecy maybe like neuter that a little bit to anybody? Because I've heard that argument.
How so?
That it was better when he just turned to the good side instead of having something that would say that he would.
I think he just realized that Luke Skywalker was his son, and after all these years of the Emperor lying to him, he finally sussed out that Padme was still alive, and he was just pissed. And he was like, damn, I could have carried on hitting that booty.
To be fair, it wasn't damn, it was no.
Uh,
God, I hate that they added that in there. But what do you guys think about the death of the Emperor? Or actually, in general, too. This is the first time I ever saw the Emperor.
I don't think the Emperor is dead.
Oh, he's totally dead.
I think he did what Luke Skywalker did and went down a little cubby hole and escaped. And then he trained up this new dude to be the Emperor's new bitch. Or he cloned Darth Vader or some shit. And that's why this guy looks like Adrian Christensen from the back. I swear to God, if it is Adrian Christensen, right, I'm going to slip my wrist there and then in the movie theater.
Who's Adrian Christensen?
That's what I was wondering.
His brother.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about the Emperor? And we get the introduction of him and his death. I mean, we technically sort of saw him in Empire, but different actor, better actor, one that's not made out of monkeys. And, this guy's got Force lightning. Like, we never saw that before, and he gets punked out by being thrown down a shaft.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I loved the appearance of the Emperor, and it was kind of leading up to that. Like you were talking about in Empire Strikes Back. They had the weird looking Emperor that they eventually replaced, but actually seeing him there and seeing how much power he had, because Darth Vader was like the end all be all of bad guys until we found out about this Emperor, and then Darth Vader's subservient to this Emperor. So kind of seeing him and how he was pulling the strings, I think was awesome, and seeing the dynamic of the relationship between Vader and Palpatine, and then eventually how Vader ended up turning on Palpatine at the end. That was huge.
Do you know by any chance how much power he had?
Unlimited power.
Oh.
Terrible line. I hate it so much. Angie, what were your thoughts on seeing the Emperor for the first time and his death scene? Fitting end?
Oh, definitely. It was just so amazing and just, shocking to me, and I loved seeing it. And then, of course, like every other movie, the bad guy had to lose.
Yeah, see, no Revenge of the Sith double depressing ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We get victory celebration, we get little Ewok bears banging on the heads of stormtroopers.
I wish George Lucas kept with his original idea of
About
Luke
Luke
putting the
turning?
Darth Vader mask on. I think that would have been pretty cool.
I think that would have been too depressing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, like, where do you go from there? Like, who would stop Luke?
I know overall with the
Nobody.
Emperor though,
Nobody. He just becomes. They're like,
he
well,
destroys
we finally got rid of
destroys all the planets because he didn't get his goddamn power converter in the first episode.
I don't know. I wasn't super happy with how the Emperor died. I mean, I can't necessarily off the top of my head think of a better way that he should have died, but just throwing him down like that, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that. I didn't like how he died, but I don't have anything else really.
But the Force lightning, that was cool, seeing that for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know if I can think of a better alternative. Like, if they were to redo it or whatever. Because if you went too crazy and had, like, a lightsaber duel or whatever, it'd be a little bit weird. Like, what makes it so powerful is the idea that he just turns and then immediately kills him.
Maybe an additional power that we hadn't seen before, because he had the Force choke, and then we see the Force lightning. Maybe some other kind of, something similar along those lines. Yeah.
Oh, maybe something like he just sort of concentrates and blows up the Emperor. Like,
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
some kind of power that he didn't even know he had.
mhm.
That suddenly
Darth
is
Vader,
released.
right, is kind of retarded. Okay,
Ugh.
the dude's got a lightsaber, and yet he still picks up bloody what's his name, Palpatine, and throws him down the fucking hole. Why didn't he just use his lightsaber and stab him in the back?
Oh, he can't. It fell down that shaft after Luke chopped it off.
Well, he can still use the Force to bring you back up.
I think at that point he's sitting there going, where did that go? All right, it's going to take a while to come back up the shaft. And
Or why didn't he use Luke's lightsaber?
Luke threw it away.
Because Luke is an idiot. You can still use the Force and bring that bitch back up,
Yeah, why didn't he use Palpatine's lightsaber? Because that one's still around, right?
Yeah, that one's still around. I mean, we never saw him get rid of it.
Because that one's
could
red,
still-
and at that point he was like, yo, I don't like red anymore. I want
It
blue
could still
back.
be in the back pocket.
No,
like,
he had too much power. He didn't need his lightsaber.
It would have been kind of cool, though, maybe like a Force, like, disintegration or something. Like, he, sort of, you see, like, the Emperor, like, maybe his body parts are, like, flying off or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that would have been, Force disintegration. So that would have made it ironic when he said to Boba Fett, "No disintegrations.
He's like, that's my wheelhouse.
Don't steal my gimmick."
Oh.
So, rounding us out here.
and he still, and hang on, he still knows the Force push because he did it in episode 3.
Well, maybe he's using the force push to keep him going down the shaft.
Yeah. That's it.
Like there's artificial gravity, and he would have been like floating or something, differently. But he throws him down and then force pushes him into the little energy thing. Just as a little fuck you kind of. He's like, that opera was boring. Fuck you. So we end this off with for the longest time we thought that this was it. That was the end of the Star Wars story. Now we got episode 7 coming out. Do you guys think it's a good idea for them to continue on, or should this have been just that's it?
At this point, I don't know. I mean, forever I thought that they were only going to make the 3, and then they said they're going to do a new trilogy, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then they were saying forever that that's it. They're never going to make any more, and now they're saying they're making more. Until I see all of the new ones and kind of go over it, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm hoping for the best, but they could be terrible. They could be fantastic. At this point, it's still too early to say. I think they weren't necessary, but hopefully they add to the story and don't diminish it.
Hopefully there's no crazy retcons, too.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they make it to where it was like, well, let's redo the Ewoks to be Wookiees.
At least I hope they don't, retcon anything like, on the level of midi-chlorians, something like that like something that was always going on in the other 6 movies that was never mentioned. And then, oh, by the way, it's this stupid reason why all this happened,
They're going to pull out a scroll and it's going to be the prophecy and the other half of the prophecy.
And it was written by C-3PO. Come on.
Oh.
Prophecy, the one who will bring balance to the Force, ... We just never read the rest of it. And then the rest is ... And also in episode 8,
Yeah.
I guess that's it though. I mean, the Return of the Jedi, we get the so-called end of the story. We don't know how it's going to continue, so we can't really talk about where it goes into, but a couple days from now, we're going to be able to see that. And of course, we'll give you our review points and stuff about that when it comes down to it, but we need to round this up with Return of the Jedi 0 to 10. Anything else you guys want to mention? Kalen?
Nothing else I really want to mention as far as the movie goes. My rating overall, I'd say this is the weakest of the original trilogy, but it's still higher than the prequels rather. I'm going to give this one, I'm split between 7.5 or 8, somewhere in that range. I gave episode 3 a 7.5. I think this is either on the
7.5.
Yeah, maybe somewhere in there. Yeah, somewhere it's either on the same plane as episode 3 or slightly higher, but it's definitely nowhere as good or as high rated as episodes 4 and 5. So I will say 7 3/4.
Angie?
I'm going to give it a 7, and it is that high because of the end scene and the whole thing with the Emperor, Darth Vader turning, Luke and the problem he has deciding. But I think some parts of the other parts of the movie just went on too long.
Jabba.
Yeah.
Not enough Slave Leia.
I didn't say I liked it. I just liked her outfit.
So what was your 0 to 10?
You said 7.
7? So we got around the 70 range. Sean, what do you think? Is this about a 7? Upper, higher?
I would have given this a 7. As long as they didn't mess around with the fucking ghosts at the end.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not counting the changes in the special edition. I'm counting the fucking changes. I'm giving this a fucking 6. It would have been great. Just get rid of Christensen. Just get rid of him. Get rid of him. And then you get up a score.
See, I gotta go around like the 6 range too. I think that Return of the Jedi is sort of on par with Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace has a better story and better action, but it just doesn't mean as much as Return of the Jedi, so it sort of loses a little bit on that kind of translation, but weakest of all the original trilogy, totally agree with Kalen on that one. And I'm kind of okay with the idea that they're continuing the story. So I'm just now worried that I hope that we get more Empire with a little bit of prequels mixed in. If we get Empire and Revenge of the Sith, then I'm cool. But if we get the boring parts of A New Hope and the boring parts of Return of the Jedi and anything marketing towards kids, then I'm going to get worried. Yeah. But that's it then for Star Wars. That's it for episode 21 of the movie club. Thankfully, there's not 21 movies yet for us to go through, because we're not going to do that in one shot ever. I guarantee that. But overall, last thoughts about this. What's your favorite Star Wars movie, and is there anything that you want to plug? Sean? Take off the mute.
Thank you. My favorite episode has to be The Empire Strikes Back. Or A New Hope. Or I might get shot in the foot for this one, episode 3. Just because of the ending. But plugs, facebook.com/Premier Pals. If you want to send me hate mail, that will be my Twitter, which I'm sure Tony will link at the bottom. Or if you want to send my hate mail towards me for sport, that will be at Premier Pals. Also, we got episode 9 up. That's live over on the YouTube. Just YouTube search Premier Pals or Happy Pope Gaming Productions. It's all on one channel. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. I might be doing some Twitch streaming. I'll let you all know about that in the near future.
Kalen?
Like we said before, I agree. Number 5, Empire Strikes Back. Favorite movie of all time. Gave it a 10. And that is the highest point of Star Wars, in my opinion. So, as far as plugs go, you can follow me on the Twitter, at Kalen Ferris. And if you want to send me spoilers on there, feel free, because I won't be checking it until after I see the new movie.
Bruce Willis dies at the end.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Bruce Willis is really Rey. Angie?
Just like Caitlin, my favorite has always been Empire Strikes Back, and probably always will be. And I am doing absolutely nothing right now. So
No plugs.
No plugs.
You're currently doing a podcast.
That's true.
Yours.
Yeah. So, my favorite is Attack of the Clones. I'm kidding. No, I'm going to round this out with Empire, too. I mean, Empire is just, it's Empire.
Unanimous.
Yeah. It's hard to argue against anybody that says it's the best. And for my plugs, obviously, go check out the rest of everything that's coming your way from fanboysanonymous.com. If you've been interested in the Star Wars stuff, there are still more Star Wars things coming. Surprisingly, there's more that we can tap that well for. But go back and check out some of the other things as well. We did our group meeting about the special editions and the original cut. If you haven't watched that yet, we got a couple of articles about things like what they should be doing for Rogue One. We got a Wed Better Dead coming up soon, so the people that are into Slave Leia, that's going to be interesting. There's going to be that Fanboys Fix It. And then once Force Awakens comes out, we're going to get the Minuteman review, the review point, anything else that's happening there, making the grade review as well. 3 reviews, at the very least, for that movie are going to happen. So lots of Star Wars to round out Star Wars month. And you got to make sure that you follow Facebook and Twitter and the YouTube and iTunes and Stitcher and the website itself to get all of that. If you're interested in the wrestling side of things of A Mango Tree, go to smarkoutmoment.com and follow everything there. Keep your eyes peeled for an all-talk show. You never know when that's going to happen either. And just follow Tony Mango and A Mango Tree on Facebook, Twitter, and all those other avenues, and you'll see anything else I want to throw out there. So, for episode 21, December 2015 of the Monthly Movie Club, thank you to all the panelists. Thank you to all you listening. Leave those comments below. Subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and keep on watching movies.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm too old for this shit.
Good day, sir!
You stay classy, San Diego.
Rose,
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm finished. That'll do, Pete. That'll do. Hasta la vista, baby.
Hey, everybody! We're all gonna get late!
You're still here? It's over. Go home.